Robservations with Robert, Meyer, Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, and this is the first episode of Robservations Midnighter. I am your host, Robert Meyer Burnett. A little different than the regular Robservations. This is going to be a show mostly about you. Who are you? What are you? You imagination connoisseurs that, well, depending on what part of the world you're on, well, it's either past midnight like it is for me, or it's in the morning, or it's sometime in the afternoon. Who knows? You're a different audience than the audience I get in the afternoon. It should be a whole different kind of Robservation show. I'm still going to have something to talk about, but mostly it's going to be about you. So what I want you to do is, if you have a decent microphone and a camera, if you've been Zooming the way you should have been, I want you to get ready. If you want to come on this show live and join your fellow imagination connoisseurs, I'm going to put you in the show. You are going to be the show. That's what the Midnighter is about. It's about community building. We're going to find out more about the Post-Geek singularity, more of who or what you are. But first, we are going to do a story. There's another big entertainment story that has dropped since Robservations has been on today, and that was, of course, the big news. MGM might be bought by Amazon. They've made a $9 billion offer. 408 this afternoon. This story dropped. I was on my way to meeting John Campea and Ann Campea and Cliff Stevenson to see Fast 9, which is embargoed, so I can't talk about it. But Amazon is weeks into negotiations on a deal to acquire MGM for about $9 billion, industry sources tell Variety. Chatter that Amazon and other tech giants have been sniffing around MGM has circulated for some time, but sources indicated that Amazon's interest in acquiring the studio has taken on a new tenor beyond the usual rumor mill. The deal is said to be being orchestrated by Mike Hopkins, Senior VP of Amazon Studios and Prime Video, directly with MGM board chairman Kelvin Welborn, whose Anchorage Capital is a major MGM shareholder. Reps for Amazon and MGM declined to comment. MGM had already effectively nailed up a for sale sign. Variety confirmed in December that the company was looking for a buyer. News of Amazon's talks with MGM began to swirl this weekend. The information reported Monday that Amazon was in talks about a potential deal for MGM, which could run between $7 billion and $10 billion. Industry sources said MGM reps have been whispering to prospective buyers for a month about a price tag of $9 billion, while others see it worth about $5 billion. So today, I have to say, unbelievable news coming from our major motion picture studios. Warner Brothers, a massive sea change there, and now Amazon might be buying MGM, obviously their deep catalog of titles and also their storied history. Amazon would be adding all of the MGM assets to their streaming service. I'm telling you, these streaming wars are heating up. I mean, it's I have to say, it's pretty incredible what we're seeing. We are living through entertainment history, and it is, in fact, pretty damn amazing. I don't quite know what to say about all this. I mean, we're seeing it. It's happening right before our eyes, and I don't know where it's all going to go. I mean, what does this mean? I hope it means that ultimately, maybe the back catalog titles of these studios will be exploited more. We don't have to worry about a lot of their lesser known titles disappearing. I hope that's the case, but we shall see. I don't know what you guys think about that. I want to put out that Efrain Guzman made this piece of artwork for me for the first show tonight. This is, as he put it, this is Burnett of Borg, designation 6 of 9. That was very fun. And he is, of course, the first person to send in a super chat tonight. He says, Burnett of Borg, designation 6 of 9, the king of luck lick. Was there justice for Han? How was Sean Boswell? Well, I have to tell you, I cannot say anything about the movie. We have been embargoed. I can tell you what I'm going to tweet about Fast 9, and everyone know. Well, I can't say it on this. I can't say it. I'll have to just tell you that I will be tweeting about it later. So that's what I will do. So for anybody, I can't say that. I would normally ask, if you haven't been on this show before, then please don't click in, because give somebody else a chance. But that isn't the case tonight, because anybody can come on this show. And there, my friends, is the live link. Let's see who the first guest will be on tonight's Midnight Metal. I'll wait and see. Harry Nice Guy sends in a super chat and says, finally, a handsome Borg. Well, thank you, Harry Nice Guy. I appreciate that, and thanks for supporting this show tonight. It's going to evolve as it goes on, you know. I'll have new graphics and things like that. I just came up with this one, thought I would go on and make it happen. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to finding out who or what is going to be the first guest on Midnight. This is not Midnight Metal. This is the Midnighter. It is Robservations Midnighter. No. Midnight Metal is sticking around for the weekends, but this is a decidedly not metal show. This is a show where we get to know you. We get to know the PGS. It's like a late night call-in radio show. I want to be like Happy Hard Harry from Pump Up the Volume. Paul sends in a tip and says, Midnight Metal, now Midnighter. What's up, bud? Are you in the doghouse with Elizabeth and you're stuck in the Robservatory? Absolutely not. I'm not stuck in the Robservatory. No, but I thank you for being concerned about my personal life. But I will say that Elizabeth, she goes to bed around now, and I'm a night owl. I like to stay up. So I figured, you know, people have asked me, I figured why not do 2 shows? Because you have a whole different audience. So we shall see. And that's why. Got to be a little soft at midnight. Right, Ray? So it's not Midnight Metal. Logan Gawain says, what's left in the MGM library that Ted Turner didn't already buy that became a part of Turner and then WB? I don't know. We'll see. We have our first guest, Derrick Pierce. Derrick Pierce, can you hear me? I am good. Now, I can hear me on my computer. Do you have headphones? Oh, good. All right. Well, I am going to bring you into this stream, if it's okay to do that, and bring you on to the show. All right. This is fun. You're the first guest on this show, and I'm happy to have you. Let me put you in, Derrick. Let me just adjust you here and get you looking all pretty and all of that so we can see you. I'm doing this, it's live on the fly, bringing you in. The first guest on Midnight Metal. Everyone, welcome Derrick Pierce. Derrick, welcome to Midnight Metal.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Pleasure to be here.
So, Derrick, what is the Brick Space?
So we are a Lego-based business. We're not part of the Lego group. We're just a business who uses Lego bricks in our day-to-day business. So we build custom sets. We do custom minifigures, If somebody has a brick that they've always wanted to see that the Lego company doesn't make, we can do 3D printing and custom manufacturing for
Wow.
that. And then we do custom builds for companies and such.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, it's great. We love it. It's fantastic. We're doing really well for ourselves. So.
How did you get into that?
So I've been a Lego fan my entire life. I blame my grandparents. When I was like 3 years old, they bought me my first Lego set, and it just, you know how collecting goes. Once you get that first thing, it just snowballs. And
Oh yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of Lego. As a matter of fact, I want to get that new Star Destroyer. I've got the original giant Star Destroyer that was released like 15 years ago.
okay, yeah,
But it's a little rickety because it's all the large deck pieces are fastened by magnets, and it was always ready to fall apart. But I
yeah.
liked it.
Most of those big sets are always like ready to fall apart practically because of the way they designed them back then. Nowadays they have more parts at their disposal, so they can make them a little bit stronger and stuff like that. But yeah, those are fantastic sets.
So, do you do the brick space professionally? Is that your day job? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So when the pandemic happened, I used to work construction.
Mm.
So when the pandemic happened, I got laid off for construction, and I told myself, if I'm going to go back to work for something, I'm going to go and do something that I love and enjoy doing and I'm passionate about. So that's when I started the brick space.
Now, where are you located?
Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, nice. All right. So,
Yeah.
do you have a website? Can you go to?
Yeah, the brickspace.ca is our website.
Okay.
And
That's amazing.
yeah.
And
We're actually
oh
we're
no, go
working
ahead.
on some pretty cool stuff right now. We're actually doing a blockbuster set, but we called it Brickbuster.
Right.
So, and actually, I'll show your viewers a little sneak peek here. This is the actual packaging for the sets.
Wow.
So it is a VHS case that we retrofitted into a box, and that's what the set's going to come in. So yeah, that's one of our current projects that we have.
And what is the Brickbuster?
So it's basically a blockbuster video, just renamed for legal reasons.
Right.
Yeah. So it's basically just the facade of a bricks, like a blockbuster video built out of Lego bricks.
Oh, like a
Yeah.
VHS tape, but Lego.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it's going to come with a sign outside of the building as well, and then a full interior. And then when you buy the set, you can also get a laminated membership card, a coffee mug, and an actual T-shirt that says Brickbuster, like the old Blockbuster uniforms used to.
Right. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we're cranking up the nostalgia for it. That's for sure.
So, do you remember what your first Lego set was that you ever got?
Yeah, it was a small little race car with the number 4 on it.
Wow.
I got it for Easter one year. Yeah. And that was
Nice.
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I love Lego. When I was a kid, though, they didn't even have like Lego minifigs yet, and that all came later. But
yeah, well, my dad gave me all his Lego when I grew up a little bit more. He was like, "Here's all my stuff," and I looked at it. I'm like, "Wow, this is literally like nothing, just bricks." He's like, "Yeah, we didn't have any of the fancy stuff."
that's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, so when did you have you always been a fan of not just Lego, but are you like a Star Wars fan? Do you collect
Oh
the
yeah,
Lego?
for sure. In '99, my grandparents, when Lego Star Wars first came out,
Right.
that was the first big stuff that I actually got Lego. Like before that, it was just a set here and there. But in '99, I guess my grandmother, she was getting ill, and I think she kind of knew. So she went out and she bought me the entire Lego Star Wars line. And then unfortunately, a couple months later, she had passed away. So I still have all that Lego Star Wars stuff, and I cherish it to this day with it. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how many Lego sets would you say that you have?
Oh, over 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked at my collection. There's an online way that you can manage collections nowadays, and you pretty much you go through every Lego set ever made, and you click what you own, and then at the end it'll tell you what the value of your collection is and how many sets you own. And yeah, it's in the 10,000 plus range. So,
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
there's a lot of, I've noticed a lot of, what are they called? MOCs? Is that what they're?
yeah. So it stands for my own creation or
Right.
mock. Yeah.
Mocks. There's a lot of great, I mean, everything from the Battlestar Galactica to the Discovery from 2001. I was looking at one today of the Saturn V gantry,
Okay. Yeah.
for the Lego Saturn V they recently issued.
For
And I'm
sure.
like,
Yeah.
I like that. I was like, ooh, I'll buy that. Click. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of Lego scammers on Facebook. Like people
Yeah.
that say that you can get the Millennium Falcon collector set for $100.
Yeah. Well, there's a company in China. I think it's called Lepin, and
Yeah, it is called Lepin.
yeah. So whenever Lego comes out with something, it's like Lepin immediately rips them off,
Right.
and it's like But where I live in Canada, they're doing a really good job of when you order something from Lepin, if it gets to the border, they'll seize it.
Really?
Counterfeit goods. Yeah. So whenever you buy Lepin in Canada, you're kind of risking,
Wow.
risking your
Wow.
money.
Now, have you ever bought a Lepin set? Is there any difference, real difference in their product?
There is an '89 Batmobile that Lego sells that I'm probably not going to be able to get my hands on the Lego version of it, but the Lepin one is, costs half as much.
Right.
So I might risk it for that because that's my favorite Batmobile ever. So it's like, yeah.
I have a 6-scale one from Hot Toys.
Yeah, I have
It's big.
I think it's Mattel. It's a little tiny one, but yeah.
No, it's great. So if you could
Yeah.
have any Lego set that they don't manufacture now, what would it be?
Oof. So that's hard. I got to pick from anything, eh?
Yes.
The Technodrome from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
now, have you ever tried to fabricate one of those yourself? Like make
I actually had one as a kid. Back in the '90s, my dad bought us this giant one that came with the original Ninja Turtle action figures, and it had this giant eye on top of it that launched off. And we had tons of fun with that. So if I could build any Lego set, it would be that one.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
Of its sheer size.
Yeah, I mean, what I love is the larger scale Lego stuff. And some of these things, like there's, I love looking at the videos of when they ever have Lego build competitions, and you see guys that have built like 6-foot Star Destroyers with total interiors and all that. I mean, it blows my mind that people can design and figure that out.
Yeah. We're opening up a storefront in a couple of months here as soon as the pandemic gets done and over with, hopefully. And actually, to my left, I have a giant Lego brick built city that we've built for display in the store.
Wow.
So let's see if I can rotate the camera to give you a look at it. It's kind of covered in junk right now, but
wow. And how big is it? Oh, I see. There you go. How
Yeah.
big is this city going to be?
So it's 3 tables, and each table is 50 inches by 125, and then they come together to make one. I think it's 110 square feet when it's all said and done with, and it has a train that goes through it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's our storefront's crown joy, or jewel, I should say.
Now, are you going to keep adding to that and making it bigger?
Eventually, yeah. What we want to do is every year, like around September and on May the 4th, we want to put the city away and bring out our Star Wars stuff.
Right, sure.
And we're going to set up a giant Star Wars diorama on May the 4th. In September and October, I have the entire Harry Potter castle, so we'll bring that out. We'll put that on display. And then Disney has a castle that they just released a couple years ago, so we're going to look at getting that. And then they have a train and a bunch of Disney stuff, so we're going to put like a theme park layout out for a portion of the year to keep it fresh and keep people wanting to come back into the storefront, right? So
what do you think? I mean, obviously Lego's been around since I've been a kid. What do you think is the enduring appeal for Lego? And it's now, there's so many adults that have entered into the Lego collecting. Well, as you attest to that, but why do you think Lego endures, and why do you think it appeals to even adults?
I think because you can build anything with it, and the good thing with Lego is they're adapting to new mediums. So I know, like on your show and John's show, you guys talk about movies a lot.
Right.
In the last couple of years, Lego has really went into the movies and started building, big sets based off movies. You got Star Wars stuff, you have Avengers stuff. Like they built an Avengers helicarrier.
Yeah, I really want that.
So it's like
I want that.
They're
Like
making things out of movies and putting it into hands of people. So you're not just dragging in, kids. You're also dragging in fans of the Avengers because they're like, oh my god, I can build a helicarrier.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I think it's
that helicarrier is really nice.
Yeah, my friend actually built a PC into one. So he built the Lego helicarrier, and then he put computer components inside of it in any of the open space that it had in the model. So,
well, and also, what is it? Robotics too. What's their robot line?
Mindstorms is the Lego robotics thing. Yeah, and that thing even like even in that field, like you got people who are doing the speed cubing. So they build the Lego robotics machines that solve Rubik's Cube.
Right.
It's insane. Like I've seen, and I was like, oh my god. And I know people who have recently built Johnny Number 5 from Short Circuit.
Right. Sure.
He rolls around on the desk.
But is he alive? Is Johnny 5 alive?
So technically. All right. And then they've also done the from T3, the Terminator tank thing.
Yep.
Comes out at the end. They've recently done that. So there's people adapting, that Mindstorm thing for everything.
Right.
I'm still waiting for them to make one that sorts and counts Lego, like sorts Lego by brick type and color. That's all I want.
You probably could do that. Well, listen, let me ask you this. Would you consider yourself an imagination connoisseur?
For sure, yeah.
What are some of the things other than Lego that you dig?
So I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I recently got into watching Star Trek.
All right, good for you.
I started with the movies, but William Shatner's a good old Canadian kid.
He's a good Canadian kid.
So I've been going back and watching some of the Star Trek episodes that people have been telling me to watch. And then I'm also a big Marvel fan, so I have all the Avengers movies. I have several Avengers collectibles. Haven't gotten the Hot Toys yet because they're a little bit on the pricey side. But,
yes, no, I understand that.
Yeah, I do have an Iron Man helmet though, so that's good. Yeah, so pretty much a little this, that, and everything. Superheroes. I'm a big DC fan. When the Snyder Cut came out, I was like, yes. I was a big fan of that.
Are you looking forward to seeing Army of the Dead this weekend?
I am. Unfortunately, here in Canada, there haven't been any theaters near me that are open that are playing it. So, because we're still technically in lockdown.
But it drops on Netflix this weekend.
Yeah. So when it comes on Netflix, that's when I'll get a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to pull out the projector, put it up in my living room, and kind of get the theater experience at home.
Nice. So. Well, listen. I want to thank you for being my first guest.
Oh, no problem. Happy to come on.
This show. Well, it's good to have you. And Derrick Pierce of the Brick Space. Once again, where can people find your store? Where can they find you online?
Yeah. So right now, since we're in the pandemic, it's online only. So that's at thebrickspace.ca.
Okay.
And then we're also on Twitter and Instagram. I think on Twitter, we're Brickspace Sue. And then on Instagram, I think we're the Brickspace.
All right.
But I'm sure if you just type in Brickspace, we'll pop up. They're pretty good at getting people around.
Nice. Well, listen, I just want to thank you, Derrick, for being our first guest tonight on this new evolving program. All right. Well, thanks for being here, sir. And that was great of Derrick to be a part of this show. We have our next guest coming on. Let me make sure you can hear me. That would be Kelvin Welborn. Kelvin, can you hear me? All right. I can hear you loud 5x5. So let me just put you into the show. I'll put you in, Coach. It's good to have you here. This is exciting. I it's fun. I don't know who's going to be on the show next. I have no idea. It's which is part of the fun. Let me adjust you and get you into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings, kind souls, welcome Kelvin Welborn to Robservations Midnighter. Kevin, welcome. Kelvin.
Kelvin. That's
Kelvin, like the
good.
Kelvin universe.
Don't lay that blame on me, thank you.
Well, Kelvin, where are you coming to us from?
Melbourne in Australia.
I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan. So do you know Justin Kane from Justin's Collection, who has the best hot toy collection in the universe? Because he lives in Melbourne.
No, I don't. This
Uh,
is the weird thing. It's a,
I know, it's
there's
a
a
big
lot of
city.
people out.
I know.
It is.
It's like people like, oh, you're from America? Do you know so-and-so? Oh, yeah.
I know.
I'll get right
Oh,
on
it's
that.
just like just down the road, that sort of thing.
So tell me, what would you consider yourself an imagination connoisseur?
I do, yes. I've been a fan of Doctor Who all my life.
All right.
Although it's dead now, unfortunately.
Uh-oh, yeah, well, it's not dead as long as we remember it.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true.
Who's
I've
your
always-
favorite Doctor?
John Pertwee.
Oh, nice. So classic Who.
Oh, definitely. There's. I actually sort of lost interest really when the news show came along. I was like, oh yeah, this is all right, but it just never sort of was the same. It was okay.
All right, well then, okay. So you got. I mean, I thought
I do like Tennant and Eccleston.
I like Eccleston too. I mean, and I also like the War Doctor, John Hurt.
Yeah, I do too. He's a great actor. He's one of those actors that you always looked out for in a movie or whatever, Alien.
So when you were, have you always lived in Melbourne?
Yes, I have. Yes, I've been here for just on 52 years.
Oh, you and I are
My
almost.
birthday was last week.
Oh, my birthday was Saturday, and
Yes, mine was last Tuesday.
I've got a couple of years on you, but we're basically the same age. So
Yes.
let me ask you this: was it growing up? Were there other kids into Doctor Who, or did you have friends that were into
There
Doctor
was, yes. I had a couple of friends of mine who were Doctor Who fans. I joined it's still going, the Doctor Who Club of Victoria.
Who? Oh wow,
Back
okay.
in 1983, I think, 84, 83, something
Wow.
like that. Yes, so that's a club that's been going for 42 years or something now. So, but not that I'm in it now. I haven't been in it for a long time because you get a job and things like that.
Go figure, a job. Well, now let me ask you this: how do you weigh in on the Peter Cushing Doctor Who feature films?
I love them. They are like watching an alternative version of those stories.
Right.
And here's I mean, I always actually include At the Earth's Core, which is like a third, because he portrays the same role,
Right.
virtually. So it's like, it's like almost like, because they were supposed to make a third movie, and I always wondered whether that was actually the script.
It might have been. That's actually, I didn't really know that. That's now. Do you listen to like the Paul McGann audio dramas?
I have listened to one or two, and I actually have met India Fisher some years ago, who played Charlie Pollard. But the Big Finishers, I've enjoyed the early ones, but there's been so much of a plethora of them. It's like just getting a bit too much.
Right.
No, I don't have time. I wish I had more time.
Now, is Doctor Who your only fan passion, or
No.
do you like other things?
Star Wars. I went and seen it in 1977.
Yeah.
We had that longer cut actually was released here in Australia. That was actually had all that stuff to do with Biggs, that mysterious print that's not really been seen since.
Well, I remember.
Because I always I read the book, I went, oh yeah, the scenes are in there. And then the movie came out again, and I went and seen it, and I'm thinking, where the hell is all this other scenes gone?
Well, I have to tell you, when I remember, I have a distinct memory of Biggs being in the movie when Luke sees him in the hangar on Yavin 4. I swear to God, when I first saw Star Wars, they meet there. I've got a lot of crazy stories to tell you. That's how I first saw Star Wars. And I mean, I don't think it's something I imagined. I remember that distinctively being in the movie when it was first released. I was there the opening weekend. And
It's exactly. I mean, I always remember they also have that scene. There's a scene earlier on, actually on Tatooine when they meet too, because Biggs tells him he's off to join the Empire.
But that wasn't in the movie.
Well, maybe it's an imagination that I've always thought it was there. But
yeah, it wasn't in the movie, but it was in the radio drama. But I do distinctively remember seeing Luke and Biggs meeting at in the hangar bay in Yavin. How do you come down on Star Trek?
I love. There's only one captain.
That's
Kirk.
right. You're a good man. You're a good man, Kelvin.
I started watching reruns in the 80s or something, I think it was. I never really watched it earlier than that I can recall.
Right.
But, I'm actually watching the Blu-rays at the moment. I'm on season 3, and I wonder how good it is.
Now, when you're watching the Blu-rays, do you watch the original versions or do you watch
I do watch the original versions.
Oh, you're a man after my own heart. A man.
I will probably one day when I get round to watching them again, I will see how the new effects actually look, just as a experiment.
I mean, I think when they were doing the remastering of the effects back in 2008, it's a really mixed bag. Some of them I really love, like when they use the new effects to tell more of the story. Like one of my favorites is Court Martial, because you never knew where the ion pod was that the Enterprise jettisoned, and they really did a good job of expanding the story through the effects work. But sometimes it's like they went overboard. Like I don't like Corbomite maneuver. I don't like how they changed the Fesarius, the giant ping pong ball starship.
Yeah.
I mean, and they made it more ornate, but they didn't have enough money to do it properly. And a lot of the time, the way the Enterprise moves is really, really sort of hit and miss.
Yeah,
but,
I always like that.
yeah, absolutely. So, is there anything you're looking forward to coming up, whether it's television or books or video games or movies?
Let's see. Well, we actually fortunately can go to the movies here pretty freely, so it's not at the moment, because we've got no cases apart from travellers.
Yeah, which is amazing. I mean, I saw for the first time, I went and saw Army of the Dead on Saturday night, and then tonight I saw Fast and Furious 9.
I went and saw Nobody about a week or so back. Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was really good.
Everyone's really liking it.
Yeah, so, so that was the first time in 12 months since Fantasy Island.
Wow. Oh, man. Woof. Well, we all have our crosses to bear, Kelvin.
I haven't bought it, It was one of those ones you go, okay, I'm going to go and see it just to see.
Yeah.
But then, have you seen the Banana Splits movies? That's what I want to know.
No. I mean, I saw I watched the Banana Splits when I was a kid, and then they had the different shows like Danger Island. I don't know if you remember that show, but
I do. I love that.
Oh, Chongo, it's Danger Island next.
A friend of mine made up a DVD of Danger Island.
Really? Yes. I would love to see Danger Island again, because I mean I haven't seen that since it was on. When I was a kid, everybody was like, tra la 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 la.
Tra la la la.
Yeah, it's
it's crazy. But no, go and watch the movie they made as a horror movie. It is a horror movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That it's like a horror movie. I heard it was. I mean, I kind of was looking forward to seeing it, but I don't know if I ever will.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I do want to see. I was going to go and see Kong and Godzilla versus Godzilla. Was it Godzilla versus Kong?
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, but I sort of now the Blu-ray's coming, or 4K will be coming next month. So it's like, well, might as well wait.
Yeah.
Might go and see. Anyway, the trouble is, you don't. Because it's been such a long lag now, you're getting a bit... Oh, actually, I do have 3 tickets to see Black Widow. So apparently when that comes out in July...
Yeah, so you already booked your tickets. I gotta look into that.
No, I just got 3 ones from the company, the service provider, for my phone and internet and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
I should say it's actually my employer as well, but that's...
I won't say
But,
anything.
no, but I mean, they just like they have these discount things that they just give to people, and they sort of said, "Well, when it comes out, you'll get these free tickets."
Yeah, no, totally.
I thought though this is probably the only way I'll see it because, it's a dead character.
Could be a good movie though, and Florence Pugh's gonna be in it. I mean, I want to see Taskmaster. I think it's gonna be good.
I will enjoy it because it's Scarlett Johansson, so you just got to observe.
Yes,
report.
that is exactly right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Is there anything any wise pearls of wisdom you want to share with the rest of the Post-Geek Singularity?
Unfortunately, I'm not as metal as you. That's the only thing.
Oh, this show's not. You don't have to be metal. Metal's only on the weekends, man. It's only on the weekends.
Okay. Normal then. Yeah. No, it's all good. No, thank you. I've only been on YouTube watching stuff in the last sort of 12 months, and I blame my brother because I had to spend a few months at his place when I was doing home renovations right in the middle of the pandemic. So 6 to 8 weeks blew out to almost 6 months.
Wow. Well, it's great to have you here as my second guest on the show.
Number 2. I was the old number 2.
Yeah, the old now you're the new number 2.
That's right.
Well, thank you for being here. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Rob. I will catch you later.
Come on. Yes, you come catch me later. That was Kelvin Welborn from Melbourne, Australia. What a great night. Tim Possible was next in line. There, Tim. Can you hear me? All right, Tim. Yes, I can hear you. Are you ready to come on the Robservations Midnighter? Come on, man. What you know? Hang on. Hold on. Let me bring you on. I'm putting you in the show. Everyone, give a nice Robservations Midnighter welcome to Tim Possible. Welcome, Tim, filmmaker extraordinaire. And it's good to have you here. Now, let me ask you, where are you? Tell us where you are.
All right, so, sorry, I know these things are weird, shoulder thing, but I'm from the Midwest, from Indiana.
Yep.
So it's really hard to find people that are like when you talk about making a film, people are like, what? What are you talking about, right?
Willis.
You ever keep that, Rob?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, it's funny, you move out of L.A., no one cares. They think you're nuts. You work in film?
Exactly.
Come on, for real? Well, okay. Whatever you say.
Well, the thing is, Rob, why I relate so much with you was I'm from Washington State, like you.
Oh, well then everybody from the Pacific Northwest is I get along with everybody. Where in Washington are you from?
Well, I was born in Olympia, and then I grew up in Shelton.
Okay.
Yeah. So I moved when I was like 12 years old or whatever. My mom was into theater and all that, and she's getting scouted out by agents back in the day, but she got cold feet. Back in those arcades, my mom's 60, by the way, by now. Right, but at that time, it was dark ages for people that would scam you over, and that's why Midwest. When you come over here in the Midwest, I'm sure Rob, in somewhat perspective, is that the Midwest is more about looking at things in a more controlled perspective.
Right.
What the Midwest likes to do. I've watched your. Every one of your shows and Campia shows, right? And the thing you brought up, valid points or whatever about the Midwest and compared to the West Coast and Washington, LA, and all that. I know Canada. I'm not going to pretend to know, but I'm going to tell you, people are more open minded on the West Coast. I've been to LA several times for work, but when I go back to this side of things, look. I'm a more fit guy. And then if you're not clean cut, especially now,
right,
especially COVID, dude, I get eyed down like so hardcore, and I'm fit. And then when I used to tan a bunch, I don't tan anymore. People will still look at me in the gym, and I was like, okay, so, but no, fitness is more of a thing. It's like, I'll bring up something really powerful. I feel like that's like in the industry. It's like that what Rob oftentimes brings up. It's like we're like people are just like, you know, once you see something new, you're indifferent towards it and you're afraid of it. But once you accept it, like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. And I've experienced that like multiple times in my life or whatever. So, but no, Rob, man, I love you, man. So I'm so like, you know, if you talk to Richard or Black Phillip Alvarez, this is an honor to be on your channel, man. I'm freaking metal with you. And all that.
Well, no, it's great to have you. Like,
anything, but
well, I think one of the cool things about this channel, and you know, I was thinking about doing, because obviously Midnight Metal, it's kind of a lark. We have fun. It's. But I thought what would be interesting would be to do sort of a late night show where it was just about the audience. You know, so we could. I do these Zoom calls for members of the channel. We do them every other week, and it's so nice to see people and just talk to people and hear from them and find out what they're all about. And I think the one thing that this YouTube channel has, like, what is it I do differently, or what is it that, and it's the community, you know, it's you, it's all of the viewers. It is, I mean, I love putting fun catchphrases on things, you know, the Post-Geek Singularity, Imagination Connoisseurs and all that, because it makes it fun. You know, it's like, it's something fun to do, but it's been really interesting because the creativity people show and all of the interactivity and it's been, you know, I think people, especially as you get older now, people don't have as much a sense of community. And, you know, a lot of people they haven't had kids, or they don't have any family members around. And so I think it's kind of a fun thing to have a community where people could just, you know, talk and chat. And it's funny because
and hang out.
Yeah, and hang out. And I was at late night, I'll be here and I'm always on like social media. Like I'll be on, if I'm working, I'll be working, but you know, I go on Twitter, I'm reading the news, and just seeing what's going on with people. But I figured, you know, I'm up anyway. So just as an experiment, like I don't know how long this particular show would last, but I thought it would be kind of fun to do and see how it goes and make it about you, make it about the audience and see how that would go. And I think it's great. It's great to be doing this. And it's great that, you know, because sometimes a lot of people don't want to show their face on the internet. You know, for me, it's just like, hey, how's it going? Come on down. But so let me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I want to express something to you real quick. From TikTok, I'm developing something new on there. I've seen something new that people have not quite discovered. If you watch Gary Vee, you may understand more as far as like a business standpoint. But what I've noticed, some like people, you know, they don't want to show their face. I was talking to a girl that's one of my biggest fans on TikTok. Right. I just got like Mark Hamill, like, you know, just like one of my stuff on TikTok.
Wow.
And I was like, you know, I was like, went through a really depressive time, you know, and you know, I'm not as young as I look, but, you know, for everyone going through the pandemic, despite who you are, we all experiencing something. We can all talk about this period of time. Right. And that's my point across that. But like, she brought up a good point to me or whatever, like people still don't feel comfortable on going on camera, like what you said. So you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is because, you know, people don't like the way they look on camera. They get bashful or shy. And it is, like, I've always been a pretty outgoing person. I mean, I started, like, working with the public when I was 13, and I was always like, hey, how's it going? You know, because you have to be that way. Can I help you, sir? Can I help you, ma'am? Is there anything you need? And it was just something I was always able to do, and I always spoke publicly and things like that. And I just sort of take it for granted. But there's a lot of people that they can't hang with that.
Public speaking is the number one that kills. I mean, that's the biggest fear in the world, right? Public speaking. And then, like, the thing is, like, even like going on Zoom calls, they were like, we're conditioned to go on Zoom calls and all that. I'm not saying with everything that happened this year was not right, But what I'm saying is we're so comfortable in the way of being stuck that way. I find myself on the weekends being a younger guy. It's harder for me to go out. It was really hard to go see my friends like 2 weeks ago and visit them. But when I was driving like an hour away to visit, like someone moved away, but it was really hard for me to do that even now because we've got so comfortable in our ways, so conditioned to speaking to people on screen.
Yeah.
It is hard for us to break a habit. They say it to break a habit, even with like fitness or whatever. Like I know, Rob, you talked about trying to get fitter, right?
Yeah.
So I've been a fitness guy, won bodybuilding competitions and stuff like that. And even I, I live in the Midwest, so I see all the seasons. It's definitely harder when it gets colder to hit the gym. Like, oh, okay, you make those excuses in your mind, right? But like when you hang around like a subgroup of people, same mind construct, it's easier. Like Rob, it flows so much better. For me, when you were making Tango Shalom or Dota, and you're hanging out with those people, it flows so much easier, right?
Yeah,
it makes
it does.
much easier. Because, yeah. So, I'll just.
No, I agree.
I didn't want to interrupt you. So, yeah.
No, well, now let me ask you this: what are some of the things that you're into as far as movies, TV, comics, video games? What are the things that you follow or that you dig?
Okay, so I'm all about I think about film. All right, so I'm not gonna sound sacrilegious because I'm a Kylo Ren guy, right? But I'm not a Kylo Ren guy because I get a lot of the new audience that just you look just like Kylo Ren. But they're like, wait a second, Kylo Ren is not your favorite person. Well, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite person, right? Because of Obi-Wan has more of a nuance to him, and it was really cool for the sequel trilogy to make him seem more like he's like, well, Obi-Wan used to be a little bit of a rebel, and he had to struggle with looking like a Jesus-like character and having a love interest. So, I know the original trilogy is not perfect, for sure. The actual original fights for me were really weak when you had Bruce Lee fights and stuff like that, because they're like, well, but then I heard about the story because with lightsabers kept breaking and all that. I understand that. So for me, my favorite type of stories are the mind bender stories like Inception. Yeah. I absolutely love that. I love Doctor Strange. It makes you think about your life and even maybe underrated film is that Shutter Island film with DiCaprio.
That's Scorsese directed.
Because the way Scorsese, why am I saying like that? Scorsese dissects each chapter of his films, and if you look at the Snyder Cut, how did they do the Snyder Cut? They cut them into pieces, and then the comment the thing about the hero's journey, my favorite films are Gladiator. Yep. Absolutely, Russell Crowe and all that. I absolutely feel that DiCaprio is very selective in what he chooses. I like a nuance into my films. It doesn't have to be obvious. So the thing is, I've rewatched these films and they they resonate with time. Some films don't resonate with time, and these do with me. And I feel maybe not I don't identify as anything. I'm just a person, human being, open mind, but I'm attracted to straight women, in essence, right? So when I bring up films like Inception, and I bring up films Shutter Island, that's the context of it, but not the whole context of it. So for anyone looking at we got to be respectful of everyone, but the thing is, it's about not letting go and moving on. It is so hard as a human being when you love someone so much. And in Inception, it was an incredible cast. The thing, I know diversity is I struggle with that every day thinking about it. It blows my mind. I was how there's no right answer for it. there's never going to be a right answer to the diversity thing. There never isn't. And I was in college, and for some, I noticed a lot of Middle Eastern people work out at night. My best friend's from Nigeria and all this. So I'm conflicted or whatever. I was like, well, these are my friends, and I see them every day, and I'm never going to experience, because I was from a small town. So it's a conflicted experience, but it's just what I do know on a consistent basis is that it is really hard to let go of someone that you love, even though they're toxic or they're leading down the direction. Let's break it down for inception. That woman was like, she didn't know what was reality and what was not. And there are some people like that in
I know. Well, no, you're absolutely right. I'm a huge I loved Inception. I saw it 8 times in the theater. It really meant a lot to me on a number of different levels, but I'm a big fan. Well, listen.
What did you think of The Revenant? Sorry, real quick.
I love The Revenant. I love I was just, the filmmaking blew me away. And the whole. I mean, I don't think I've ever felt cold while watching a movie, like really freezing, just because of what I saw on the screen. I was like, oh my God.
Well, it felt very Midwest, and then my mom is actually biracial. We actually own some land in Montana. So, but I'll let you go. I know you got to get some new guests on, but it was great talking to you, man.
Listen, it's great to have you, Tim. Thanks for being here. What a great this is. I'm having so much fun meeting and talking to everybody. Thanks for coming on for the inaugural show. This is amazing. So thanks for being here.
2000, man. All
right. Live long and prosper. Everybody, that was Tim Possible on the show. Thank you, Tim, for coming on. And I'll be curious to see. I mean, obviously, we'll see. We've got, let's see. Cash is here. Cash, can you hear me? How's it going, man? Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to bring Cash on to the show. Let me put you in. I'll put you in, and I will make it happen. I'm making it so. Let's see. This is everybody. This is Cash. Welcome, Cash, to the Midnighter.
Yeah.
Cash, welcome to the show. How are you? First of all, tell the viewers, where are you coming to us from?
KCMO, Kansas City, Missouri.
And how is Kansas City, Missouri these days? You guys on lockdown? What's the deal?
Oh,
Wait a minute. What happened?
I've been allowed to walk around as long as you wear your stupid fucking mask and all that shit. But after the CDC came out and said, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, fuck masks, who cares? That's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I wish people weren't, like I went out tonight. I went to a restaurant and I went to a movie and I had a mask on the whole time.
Fair.
And I'm vaccinated.
That's your choice, though.
Yeah, no, it's totally my choice. But, well, they're rescinding. The only thing is that even though I'm vaccinated, I can still acquire COVID and be a carrier, and I don't want to do that.
You're not wrong. There was a news cycle last week where literally after Joe Biden said, hey, it's cool, on CNN, they literally said, hey, several Yankees members who are all fully vaccinated got COVID.
Yeah, they did. Nine members of the team.
Yes. So it's one of those things where it's like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what it is. I don't want to harp on that. By the way, it's fucking stupid.
Well, let me ask you this: you're part of the community. Would you consider yourself an imagination connoisseur?
Nah. Give or take. I mean, what do you mean by imagination connoisseur?
Well, I call everybody, the audience of the show, everybody who watches is an imagination connoisseur. Like yes. Anybody like Star Wars, Star Trek, comic books, video games. So what is your jam? What do you love?
My I think I told you this on Thursday night or Friday morning.
Yeah.
It's the MCU, and it's the last bastion I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Star Trek, I was never really into. Star Wars is, sorry, dead. And as I've said on Gary's channel a few times, Doctor Who was raped and murdered. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
No, I find it. Look, what I find so interesting about these shows that have been around for a long time, you can look and find out. You can see what good Doctor Who is. You can identify it. I mean, and if you don't know yourself, there's plenty of lists out there compiled by people over the years, and you can actually go, okay, here's what the audience for Doctor Who likes. Here's consistently for over almost 60 years now, you can look and see what classic Doctor Who is. So you'd think that anybody who's going to take over, like if Chris Chibnall's hired to take over the show, that he would do the research and be like, okay, here's what fans of this show like. I should work within that paradigm. But oh no. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm going to come along and do what I want to do, which is fine to be a creative. But, you know, when you have a franchise that's been around for 60 years, there's a certain expectation from the audience that you're going to give them, well, not the same, something that's innovative, but you're not just going to come play identity politics with it or whatever's fashionable now. You're supposed to try and tell a timeless story, you know, that Doctor Who will work for kids or adults the way it worked 50 years ago, the way it worked starting in 2005 when they brought it back and Christopher Eccleston played the first new Doctor, and I think since Paul McGann and the Fox American version. And so I just don't understand why everybody wants to change formulas and end up ruining the very thing that people loved.
Exactly. You know why they do it? Woke politics. That's it at this point. Like, I mean, you're one of the few people I listen to where I'm like, he's actually inspirational and he has this ideal of like, it'll get better. But constantly I watch this shit. It's like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, come on, man.
Well, look, I mean, I thought within the one thing I would say about that is, you know, they do go back. They take inspiration from the actual comics that have been published. Like the Isaiah Bradley character was in The Truth, a comic called The Truth that I really liked. And I thought in the case of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the writing, the problem with the show is they had to rework it because of the pandemic. So they went in and reshot a lot of things. It was actually about a global pandemic.
That's very true.
But I really liked the idea, the central conceit of it, that I like the Isaiah Bradley, Sam Wilson conflict where you have two black men. One of them is bitter and demoralized and was experimented on, and his country really let him down. And he's like, they'll never let a black man be Captain America. And he's not wrong for being bitter. But then on the other hand, Sam Wilson, despite knowing all this, he's like, you know what? No, because I'm the kind of person, when we first met him in Winter Soldier, and he was helping veterans, and he's a true American. You know, he's somebody that believes in the American way. He believes in what he's doing, and he believes that Isaiah Bradley, for all the horrors that he put up with, was wrong. You know,
anything you just said, you're right. However, they kind of dissuaded from that.
Yeah, no, I that's the thing. I mean, it obviously wasn't perfect, but I do think that Falcon Winter Soldier was compromised because of the production. It was going to be the first thing out, and then COVID hit. I'm really curious to see the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving forward, because I'm a huge fan of the films. And
me too.
I really, even when the films aren't, like, I don't understand why people say, like, Iron Man 2 sucks. I'm like, I enjoy Iron Man 2.
Did you see on Sideshow they're going to drop a fucking Iron Man Mark V, like, mid-setup?
Dude. Oh, my God. That was so cool.
I'm buying that. Like, I got a year to do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But then I also thought, I was like, oh, man, I have to buy Whiplash now. I have to buy
Yeah, and I gotta go. You get to get the die cast. The Mark, was it the Mark V? You have to buy that the die cast figure, which I never had.
Yes,
and it's a great.
But no, like I respect the Mark V, but like the whole idea that Sideshow and Hot Toys are doing the mid, like it's not the full one. It's Tony Stark in his racing outfit.
I know. It's so with it half on. What a cool.
Yes.
And that was their
so fucking cool.
So cool. I think that was their 600th show.
Yes.
Paul, by the way, Paul sends in a tip and says, there's word buzzing around the internet that this new merger with Warner Brothers may resurrect the Snyderverse, giving us the Justice League sequels. Of course, anything can happen in this wild world, but honestly, how possible do you think that is? Let me hear your thoughts. Paul, the Snyderverse is dead. They will never do it again. And yeah. I think that Zack Snyder has been talking about that he didn't have a very good time with Warner Brothers doing the Snyder Cut. And he's moved on. I mean, Netflix, he's doing another science fiction project with Netflix after Army of the Dead. He's got a prequel series and an animated series. So I think he's pretty much ensconced. Netflix loves Zack Snyder. Warner Brothers doesn't. And why work for people that don't like you?
Also, let's not forget to mention that he actually shot a Green Lantern scene. And Warner Brothers said no.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, he showed that picture with Jon Stewart. I saw the picture with him.
It looked good.
It looked good, man.
It looked good.
I love Martian Manhunter too, but I love Jon Stewart. I would love to have seen that.
He's my favorite Green Lantern.
Oh, he kicks ass.
Down. Yeah.
I love Jon Stewart. So is there, aside from the MCU, like how do you feel about Black Widow, the Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man No Way Home?
All right. So where do I start on this? Black Widow should have happened where once again, I listen to Gary and I agree with him. Black Widow should have happened where Captain Marvel was.
Right, I agree.
Shang-Chi and the Immortals, I'm kind of laughing at the fact that it might be banned from the one fucking country they're pandering to. I think that's hilarious.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I grew up with Master of Kung Fu, so I'm excited to see a Shang-Chi movie because I always loved the character growing up.
It looks like a good kung fu movie, but it doesn't look like a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I'm curious. I mean, I just love. I mean, Shang-Chi was once a member of the Avengers, so I'm really curious to see how it all plays out. And a lot of people, I think the Eternals is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm really hoping it's good. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be terrible.
How do you think it's going to surprise people?
Well, I think that it's first of all, it's a different kind of a movie. They're covering thousands of years of Marvel history. And I mean, I really am looking forward to how do they link it into the Celestials and like Thanos was an Eternal. I mean, Thanos was
he was a Titan.
Yeah, he was a Titan, but he was part of that whole thing. And I'll be curious to see how it all works out because I think it's going to be different than anything they've done. At least I'm hoping that it's different.
I hope so as well. However, they took Icarus, who is the leader of the Eternals. And granted, I've only done a little research. I've never read the comics. They took Icarus, who is the leader of the Eternals, and sidestepped him for
Cersei.
Jolie. Well, not Cersei, but Jolie, whatever.
Angelina Jolie.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of her first name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious how they're all going to handle it. I mean, I always try and I hope for the best before something comes out. I can't give you a honest opinion, but I'm a fan of the Fast and Furious movies, and I saw Fast 9 tonight.
Yes, I heard.
And it was. I mean, I can't say anything because I'm under embargo. Let's just say. It wasn't my favorite film in the franchise.
The last one I watched was Fast 2.
Yeah, now it's past midnight, so I can tweet my my opinion, but I can't say it.
Like,
But
I don't give a shit about Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
And you really wouldn't if you saw Fast 9.
Yeah.
That said, though, so anything else you're looking forward to besides, what about, are you a James Bond fan at all?
I was until after Skyfall. What was it after that? It was the one with
Spectre.
Spectre, yeah.
Not good. Not a
Nope.
good movie. Nope.
I thought Skyfall was fantastic. It like brought a levitas to James Bond as a character, like Daniel Craig's version of it, like where he lost M and then they replaced him with Ray Fiennes. That was great.
Yep.
I have not watched Spectre.
Yeah.
And it has Christopher Waltz in it, and I love that guy as an actor. I still won't watch it.
Yeah, the movie's not good. Don't watch it.
That's what I heard.
Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. It was good to have you. And
I appreciate it.
This is my inaugural, the Midnighter, the Robservations Midnighter. It's been a lot of fun. It's a show about you all. So, Cash, it was good to have you here. And we'll see. I'll see you soon. I'll see you on Midnight Metal or welcome back. And it was great to have you. So thanks for being on the show, man. All right. Well, you that's what this show's all about, jumping in and talking shit, if that's what you want to do. We've got Dean Mikitish is here, all the way from the UK. Dean Mikitish is a longtime member I'd call him a foundational member of the Post-Geek Singularity community. So it's good to have Dean. Always good to see Dean. I'm going to put him in the show. Dean, are you here? Can you hear me? Oh, wait. I can't hear you. I can still talk about you. Oh, wait. Can I hear you now? I still can't hear you. I don't know why. Why can't I can always hear you. I can't hear you now. Dean, come back, Nikki, come back. Oh, wait. How about now? Nope, I can't hear you now. Why is that, Dean? I don't know. Well, you know what? I can adjust your picture and see if I can make it work. I don't know why I cannot hear Dean, but I will try and make... nope, not yet. Oh, wait. It clicks on and off. Like I can hear you coming on and like you're about to be here, but then I can't hear you. Oh, wait. Wait, now I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, I can hear you now. Well, I'm going to add... Oh, you can you hear me? Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind souls, gentle beings, welcome Dean Mikitish, a person who it took me a really long time to say his last name correctly. Remember that, Dean?
Oh, God, months.
I mean, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this. Couldn't pronounce your name. So welcome to the inaugural, the Robservations Midnighter. I mean, you have been a very vibrant and very... a terrific member of this community. You've been here almost since the beginning, I think. And
yeah, I think I came in about episode 50 or something like that.
Yeah, so, that's kind of like being the first person here. Who watched the show back then? I had no audience. But no, it's great to have you. And you've actually met the lovely Emma Bannon in the flesh. She hooked you up with a PlayStation. You're a physical media fan. So let me ask you this. What is your story? When did you become an imagination connoisseur? Did you have some revelatory moment where there was something that really turned your crank, that like you became maybe an animated film or watching Star Trek, or what was the thing that turned you into an imagination connoisseur?
I think it was because of the time. I mean, like growing up in the 80s in the UK, when we had reruns of Stingray and Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds, and we also had cartoons like Transformers, Thundercats, all that sort of thing. So I think that's what built it up, and then obviously reruns of Star Trek before TNG came out. So yeah, it was just watching those and all the classic '60s TV shows as well from the States, like Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants.
Yeah.
Was it 2000 Leagues Under the Sea?
20,000. Well, they did have a show, but it was Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
The Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Those are all the Irwin Allen shows: Time Tunnel, Village of the or Land of the Giants, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and Lost in Space.
Yeah. So I grew up with all of that. For the love of Star Trek, I'd have to say we've seen Star Trek 4 for the first time.
All right.
That's what grabbed me. And then I delved properly into it all. And around that time, TNG was starting to come out. So I just went head into it. And
yeah, because Star Trek 4 came out in '86, and then Next Generation came out in '87. So
it came out in the UK the following year, because obviously it took a while for new US shows to reach the British shores.
Yeah. So you had a pretty full on introduction to all of this stuff, because you watched the Irwin Allen shows. I watched those when I was a kid. I mean, I love Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea because the sea view was like the Enterprise.
Yes.
You know, it was this very cool. The design was really cool. It had a flying sub. It had its own shuttlecraft. Anytime the flying sub came out, you knew it was going to be a good episode.
Yeah.
And then
leaving the ship and flying out the water.
Yeah, it was the best. And then we didn't get, when I was a kid, I didn't get to see the Jerry Anderson stuff until later. I had the toys, but I'd only seen Space 1999 and UFO. I hadn't seen Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and Joe 90 and Stingray, and it wasn't until we got cable in 1980 where they were showing compilations of episodes of all these Super Mario Nation shows, and I love them. I love the Jerry Anderson stuff. I was a huge fan because a lot of it was like fetish. It was like model fetish videos where you're watching the Thunderbirds. Like everyone had to get in their ship, and then the ship had to, like, the Thunderbird 2 would come up, and the palm trees would fall down, and it would come out and take off. Or Thunderbird 3, the swimming pool would pull back, and Thunderbird 3 would lift off. I mean, I lived for that, and of course the Barry Gray's Thunderbird March. Dun, 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 dun. I love that shit.
There was one Jerry Anderson show I couldn't stand when I was a kid because it terrified me, and that was Terrorhawks.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it again since, and I'm like, what scared me about this show? It's
right.
Great.
Terror, and that was later. I think Terrorhawks was like in the 80s. It came out.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and the ships again were way cool. I mean, it was, and they made toys of those. Like, I could never get them. I'm trying. Why can't I get the Terrahawks? It was hard to get that stuff. So, what are you looking forward to now? Like, you're playing video games. You got what? Like, I want to get the new Mass Effect, the remastered Mass Effect. You know, I want to get those. I still have to play Ghost of Tsushima, but.
Loving that.
Yeah, I'm dying to play. I've been dying. That's really why I wanted a PlayStation 5, so I could play it in like 60 frames or whatever. But I can't wait. So, but what are you looking forward to? Like, I was really looking forward to Fast 9, and I'm not happy. But what are you gonna do? That's
so that's two films that's let you down then.
Yeah, and I was very surprised, to be honest. But, you know, a lot of people really liked it. I was not one of them. And what can I say? I was looking forward to it. I got to see it. So
yeah.
My review is, it is what Season 8 was to Game of Thrones, Fast 9 is to the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Right.
And I will leave that. That's what I'm tweeting, so that I can say that. So, or it was a good day to die hard of the franchise. Take your pick. so there
I'm going to see it anyway.
Oh yeah, you got to see it. I mean, I was so excited to see it. It was so much fun to go see another movie in the theater, and it was great presentation. And I enjoyed watching it. Well, sort of, but it's just great to be. Now, can you go to? Is the UK still in lockdown?
No, I believe cinemas opened up yesterday.
Okay.
But, there's nothing really on at the moment that I want to go and see. But VEU are doing reshows of Total Recall with Schwarzenegger.
Oh wow!
I might go and see that.
Emma got me the Studio Canal, the 5-disc set, because Amazon UK, where I was getting it, just canceled my order because of Brexit or whatever. I had an order, but it was fun. You know what? That movie was so much fun to go revisit again because it's a hoot. I love that movie.
Yeah, I picked it up on Blu-ray when it came out.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun.
It's got Gold Ducat in it.
What's that?
It's got Gold Ducat. Mark
Alamo. Yeah, he plays. I'd forgotten about that he plays like a Martian soldier.
Yes.
You know, and you're like, oh, okay. And then Robert Picardo is the Johnny Cab.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like all the Star Trek alumni are in the film, and Sharon Stone is delicious.
Oh,
you know,
stunning.
She's so good, and she's like wearing her little aerobics outfits. It's great. And no, I really like that. And the Jerry Goldsmith score is great. It's just, and it's bloody. It's great.
It's perfect.
Models, miniatures, it's mutants. It's great. What's not to love about Total Recall? So what are you looking forward to that's coming out this year? Are you looking forward to the new Bond film?
Obviously, I'm looking forward to the new Bond film, and I'm hoping you'll be able to come over here so we can all go and see it.
Man, I want to do that so bad. I gotta put some money aside to go do it. I mean, it was so much fun to do it in 2012. And it'd be fun to do it with Elizabeth. Just come over there and it would just be, and then we could all do a live show together.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the best. And then go play video games and drink in a pub, have crisps and pints. But I love London. I've only been there twice, but I love the city. I love just wandering around. You know, it's funny because I think all Americans believe that anybody who has a British accent is just inherently smarter and more sophisticated than we are. And it's great to like wander around and just hear people's British accents. I'm like, I love this. I just feel like I'm smarter. Even though that might not be the case, we just believe that it is. You know, because everybody is smarter they're either smarter or they're diabolical. Like Grand Moff Tarkin.
Well, you know, there is a reason why we're all cast as villains in Hollywood films.
I know. I mean, you have to be. You're either really good, you know, like you're Alec Guinness and you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, or you're the officer in a Bridge on the River Kwai or something, or you're really evil. It's one or the other. Like there's no middle. There's no unless you're Hugh Grant in like About a Boy. You can be both good and evil.
Yeah.
You know, you can try and pick up depressed single mothers, or you can, you know, be a good person. So I love that movie. I love About a Boy.
It's a great movie.
It's such a great movie. It's so great. So what else? I mean, you know, they just announced today that Dune is absolutely going to be a theatrical only release, which I'm very excited about. I hope that stays. I know because I've been looking forward to that too. Do you have any interest in seeing Dune?
I do, but I'm in two minds because, as you know, they've only done the first story out of 3.
I know.
If it isn't done well, if it doesn't do well in the box office, I'm going to lose out on those 2, and I just hate having half a story.
I know. I mean, I having read the script, I really like the script, but you don't see the revolution that happens at the end of the movie, where the story when Paul comes back with the Fremen and the sandworms and attacks the Arakeen and takes back the planet, you know. And then I wanted to see when he had his whole galactic jihad and kicked everyone's ass. I mean, that happens in. They were going to make 3, you know, Dune Prophet, and Dune Messiah. I want to see those movies, man. I hope. You know, I've heard people who've seen Dune. I've heard it was called A Beautiful Mess. And that could be when I hear people say shit like that, I'm like, you don't know the story. And then other people I've heard who've seen it thought it was great. So I can't wait. I mean, either way, I think it's going to be spectacular because I really like the script. I thought they really nailed the story.
Well, the one thing I am looking forward to is Matrix 4, and they've kept a tight lid on that.
I love it.
To know how they bring Neo back.
I can't wait to see Matrix 4. I mean, even though Matrix 2 and 3 are kind of disappointing, there's still so much cool shit in those movies. Like, they might not hold together all the way, but The Matrix is a classic, science fiction classic.
Well, there's only one thing I don't like about The Matrix. That's the ending where he confronts Agent Smith, dies, and it's Trinity. I love you, and he comes back to life.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that's disappointing about that film.
I know. Orville Nation sends in a sticker and says. Orville Nation says he's the #1 fan of this. Well, thank you, Orville Nation. I thank you for that. Louis Terrazas says, Dean, that, Rob, this is great. You could do every show at midnight and it would be everything. Hey, 007 will be taken care of now that Jeff Bezos is at the helm. Well, you know, Bond has been, MGM was Bond's home for a long time. UA. It'll be, let's hope so. You know, I hope so. But I don't know, Dean, let me ask you this. As a Bond fan, Daniel Craig's era of Bond is over. Do you think they should continue or should they retire James Bond as a character, a movie character?
If you're going to continue him, it needs to be period piece. So it needs to be 60s. It can go all the way up to the late 80s. It needs to be set in that Cold War era. I don't think Bond works outside of that. And it's the same with Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I know. And I don't understand why it's kind of a bummer. Tim's Talk sends in a super chat and says, hello there. Metal tonight. Tonight is not metal. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're going to be the Robservations Midnighter show. This is a chance to meet all of you, and it is not a metal show. The weekends, however, Friday and Saturday, those are metal shows, pure metal shows. Well, listen, Dean, I want to thank you for being here on the show this evening, this inaugural show, and thanks for being a longtime member of the community. It's great to see you. Great to have you. It was great to have you, and I'm going to. I guess I will have to. Well, I'm going to shift you out and bring in someone else to see. It's fun. It's fun, kind of not knowing who's going to be on the show. You know, I don't know. And it is fun. So it's been great to see you. Thank you for being here, and thanks for being a part of the community. And
thank you for everything you do, Rob.
Well, thank you, sir. It's been fun to have you here. So I bid you a good rest of the week. I guess in your day. What time is it in England right now? 8:30? 9:30?
9:30.
9:30. So wow. Well, I mean, enjoy the rest of the week, and I hope to hear from you or see you or read a letter from you shortly.
I'm sure I'll send one in, and obviously we've got the Zoom chats.
Yes.
Zoom chat as well.
All right, I will see you. I'll see you soon. That was, of course, Dean Mikitich, a great guy whose last name I finally got correct, and I felt much better about my life when I did. Let's see who we've got here. We've got Mark at Benson's. Mark, can you hear me? I can hear you too. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. Are you ready to? Are you ready to join the Midnighters here and be a part of the show? I'm gonna put you in. And how do you just want to go by Mark? That's it. Should I just call you Mark? Uh-oh. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Well, hang on. I'm going to bring you in. Now, this is Mark, everyone. Welcome, Mark, to the Robservations Midnighter. Mark, welcome. Where are you coming to us from tonight?
Mark's fine. Yeah, great. I'm in the UK. I'm the yes, please.
Well, where in the UK?
Can you? I've got it. Sorry, I'm good. I'm in the northwest of the UK.
Now, would you consider yourself an imagination connoisseur?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Rob. I've got a total. I can hear what you said about 30 seconds ago.
Oh, there's a link. Okay, it's lagging. Well, how about this? I'll ask you this, so there'll be a lag. Tell us, how did you become an imagination connoisseur? And tell us, what are some of your favorite things? Like, what do you love the most? Star Trek, Star Wars, comics, video games, Doctor Who. Tell us your story, Mark.
So,
I know you got to catch up with me. I asked a lot of questions.
So sorry, Rob.
No, don't be sorry. It's good to have you here.
So my big thing is Superman. Back. Sorry. So basically, I sent you a letter quite a while ago. It was I was 8 years old and went to see Superman the movie with my dad, and then that's what got me into it. And then he passed about a month after we'd watched the film.
Right.
But there was a piece in the film where he says, the son becomes the father becomes the son, and it just kind of stuck with me. So as a child, I kind of always imaged that my dad was Jor-El and I was, he was in a distant place. It kind of helped me get through it. And that's what it for me. I am a huge Condor Man fan, as you'll be aware, as I've messaged you before. I know you hate that film.
I don't wait. I don't hate Condor Man. I mean, it was something I saw when I was a kid, and I mean, it was fun when I saw it, but I wouldn't. It's hard to go back. If you go back and you watch it now, it's hard to watch.
Well, I've persuaded Enosh at the Poindexter Lounge to do a watch along this month, so that's brilliant. So he's pushing the restore the Condor Man. I'm also a huge fan of Superman Returns and what you did on that, because I felt that was more like the Donna cut. Because I really love the Donna cut of Sun 2.
Yeah.
So I love what you did on the Superman Returns. I'd really love to see a full director's cut of that film, and I know you've got footage that we haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean, I tried
your documentaries.
Yeah, I tried to get Brian. I mean, Brian doesn't like to look back, and I don't know if Warner Brothers would ever want to revisit it, but the original version of it I thought was a better film. It was a half an hour longer. And I'd love to go back and put my documentary is only half. I mean, I shot 1,400 hours of footage on the making of that movie. So there's a lot more stuff people haven't seen. By the way, I just want to read, Twin Flicks sends in a tip and says, Robbie, Robinator, the Robster, Rob. The reason for my excitement is because we are fully vaccinated and I just resigned up for AMC A-List and booked my first movie. We haven't been to a theater since The Invisible Man. Can't wait to go home. I don't know if you can hear me, Mark, but let me ask you this. By the way, thank you for the kind words about the work on Superman Returns. But have you been to the theater lately? Can you go to a theater? When was the last time you were in a theater? And what are you looking forward to that's coming out for the rest of the year? I know you have to wait for my...
So the last film I went to see was the Unhinged film, which I thought was brilliant. Real good fun movie. The cinemas opened yesterday, So we're planning on seeing Lord of the Rings, which Fellowship of the Ring. That's been it's quite funny actually, because when you go to book a film in my area, that film sold out, and Godzilla King Kong is able to book, Mortal Kombat's able to book, but the classic Lord of the Rings is sold out every time I try and book a seat. So it shows that people want to see the classic. But I've watched Mortal Kombat. I thought that was great, and just a popcorn movie. Godzilla King Kong, I really enjoyed that. My son's 13, so he's kind of leading the way now, and he's educating me on all these. So we watched Falcon Winter Soldier, and he just sits there like encyclopedia at 13. It blows my mind. But I actually, it's not a plug this, I'm just explaining. I actually sell toys. So he collects all the Marvel figures. So that's why I'm always intrigued by your collection. Absolutely, I absolutely love your Eagles from that Space 1999.
Well, and now
I wanted to ask you if you ever saw the X. Sorry.
No, saw which?
I wanted to ask you if the Starfleet X-bombers from the 80s. I know you're into like Terrorhawks and Thunderbirds, but there was a series made in called X-Bomber, and it was called Starfleet in the UK.
Oh yes,
I think if you could find a copy on DVD or Blu-ray, I think you'd love it.
Yeah,
it was the X-Bomber, the 3 pieces that came together to make Die X.
Yep, I know it. Yes, but I don't have it. I love toys. I mean, in terms of combination things, my favorite Super Robot shows were Getter Robo G, and there was a company in Japan called Future that makes these hideously expensive die-cast, and I have all 3 of them. I have the 3 because they were the first Mattel Shogun Warriors, but then when Future made them, I'm like, oh, I have to have those, and they were like $500 a piece, ridiculously expensive. But if I was rich and I went to Japan, I could easily drop $100,000 on diecast. Whether it's Soul of Chogokin.
Starfleet series was fantastic, but it was so sad because there was when they'd made the first series, there was an arson attack on the warehouse where they made the show, and all the sets were burnt to the ground, so they never got to carry on with the series. It was really sad, but I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
actually now I must admit I bought the DVD set. It's great, and the story's a really good story as well.
Well, I'll have to get that. I'll have to read that. So you sell toys in the UK. What kind of a toy retailer are you?
Oh, it's Marvel Legends, McFarlane, and then a lot of collectibles. So a lot of dolls as well. Not things that you'd be interested in in terms of the dolls, but the action figures. Yeah, we carry all the Marvel Legends. I can't see any Barbies on that shelf behind you. I don't think they'd be.
I do have a few. I have like the original Star Trek Barbie that was done with the Yeoman Rand and the Kirk that came in that 2-pack. Like I have that, and I have a few other things. But it's funny. I am no longer. My whole thing is I want the best version of whatever toy it is. Like. I don't need my like I really like there's a YouTube channel called Analog Toys. I think the guy's in Australia. He has really good taste, and he has got a great collection of vintage like 70s toys. And I love watching his channel because he's got great taste in vintage toys. But I was like, I just want to get the best toy. I want to get the best version of whatever it is I want possible. Whatever action figure it is or model kit or whatever. Give me the best version of it. Because I know a lot of people like their vintage toys, but I'm like, no. I want modern toys. I want them to be awesome. That's why I love Hot Toys so much, is because for the most part, they're the best versions of those toys that have ever been made. So, well, listen.
Before I go, so I know you've got lots of people waiting. Can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I know it's John Schnepp's just had his birthday. What's your fondest memory of him?
Oh, my fondest memory of John Schnepp was I was in New York for a wedding with my girlfriend at the time, and we were just wandering around New York. Like we went we were in Times Square, and there's like this Russian bar where people were just like partying, and we're in New York, not in California. We're in New York, and we walk into the bar, and it was packed. I mean, it was a raucous crowd, people scream, and then all of a sudden, John Schnepp was just in this bar. Like, we walked into this bar in New York City, and there was Schnepp, and he looks over, he's like, "Hey, man," very Schnepp-like, comes over to us, and I'm like, we're in New York City. There's millions of people in this city. And the fact that at this certain time, at a certain place, we ran into each other in the middle of, like, in Times Square, and that was exactly the kind of thing that would happen with John Schnepp. You don't know why, but and of course it was in a place where everybody was partying and everybody was having a good time, and there was Schnepp, and it was great because we were in there, because it was like, there was Russians. It was you could tell some of them were Russian mobsters. A fight broke out. This fight broke out like at the door, and like we're watching this, and it was like, maybe it's time to leave, and we went out and went to a French bistro and stayed up all night long and just talked, and it was great, and that's what I always loved about John, because I would see him at conventions and I would see him around, but I would see him here in the city, but to just randomly run into him in New York City, I'm like, well, of course that would happen. Of course that's when I would run into John Schnepp, because that's what he was like. And I never saw John where he wasn't smiling or laughing. There was always something going on that he was enjoying. And I miss that guy, man. His birthday mine's the 15th. His birthday was the 16th. Now it's the 18th, but it was the 16th. And so we're the same age. I can't not have my birthday and not think of John Schnepp. So.
Oh, thanks for that. That's lovely.
Yeah. Well, listen, Mark, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thanks for being in.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. This has been great. I didn't know how the show was going to go. I didn't even know if anybody would come on, but it is fantastic, and thank you for being here. I very much appreciate it. So, everyone,
take care.
By the way, Mark, you sell toys. Do you have? Oh, Mark. Well, I was going to ask him. Mark, send me a place where we can find out if people want to buy toys online from you. Tell me about your store. But the next person, we have Angel. Angel, can you hear me? Okay, Angel, I'm going to bring you onto this inaugural show. Oh, wait, I brought you in too soon because you're not in the show, actually. Hold, please. Let me put myself back in while I actually put you on the show, as I'm being my own producer, which I will do. So I'm going to put Angel M in and put him in coach. He's wearing an LA Dodgers hat. So I will put him in. Let me get him in here. And get him in. So, Angel, can you can hear me okay? Okay, I can't hear you very well, though. Oh, that might be better now. It's a little scratchy. But let me see. Stub McShave says, "Did you see An Atheist in the Realm of Myth? It's an interesting discussion between Stephen Fry and Jordan Peterson." Wow, I'd watch that. "So refreshing to see a discussion between two persons who differ so much in their political views that communicate in a civil manner." Well, look, I don't understand why Jordan Peterson. I mean, I understand his views. People branded him a transphobe when he was just talking about compelled speech. And I mean, his books are not like, I like Jordan Peterson. He's interesting to speak to. I love Stephen Fry. I'd love to see that conversation. And yeah, I mean, why shouldn't you be able to talk to people you disagree with? I will watch that, Stubble. Martin Allen sends in a super chat and says, "Hi all, does AT&T still own Wonder Woman and now Discovery?" Well, that's a good question. No, I think Wonder Woman still belongs to Warner Brothers. I believe so. I don't know. I don't think they have the copyrights. And Discovery is the Discovery Network, so I guess they would be part of it. Kim Possible sends in a super chat and says, "Love you, man." Well, Tim, I want to thank you for being on the show. That was very good of you to come on. Anthony Gonzalez comes in and says, "Just reporting in to say I showed my 78-year-old mother Star Trek 2, 3, and 4. That is a pretty great trilogy. She seemed to enjoy them all. Tonight I showed her The Final Frontier. It ends. She paused for a while and said, that one was weird. Your grandmother is a wise woman." So, Angel, are you good? Oh, I can't hear you yet. But we're going to get you. We're going to get you on this show, Angel. I promise. Yeah, just switch over and we'll put you in. That's pretty good. I was going to go till 1:30, but I'll go till 2. Why not? Mid-knot metal. Let's see. I'll throw in another... Oh, there we go. The Benson's Emporium is where you can find the toys. You can find the Benson's Emporium. That is BENTZENS Emporium. EMPORIUM. The Benson's Emporium. So thanks for being on the show. And here you go. Here's the link. By the way, Angel, don't worry. We'll get you on. I know Angel is fixing his sound, which is fine. It's okay. Benson said, "Rob, thank you for being so kind and allowing me the time. With your dream come true. Well, let's talk more." I love that. I mean, I love that. That's what this show's all about. We're going to be on at midnights, and we're going to talk to you, all of you. And that's what makes this show what it is. Oh, I can't hear you yet, but I'm sure I will soon. I will. I love that big screen TV. I'm dying to ask you to know. I want to know what kind of screen you have. Oh, Angel, hold on. I'm gonna bring in my man Xevious. You're still gonna be on. You're still here. Oh wait, are you there, Angel? Nah, I still can't hear you. But don't worry. You're not gonna miss your chance. I'm gonna put my man Xevious in first. And so just hang out, and I will put you in. And Xevious is here. My man Xevious, an incredible artist. You've met him before on this show, and he's done some amazing work. And he's done art. Xevious actually did the artwork for Let's Get Physical Media. And it's pretty amazing shit. Not as amazing as the stuff he's doing for this project I'm working on. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome again, another Canuck, Xevious. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Xevious to the show.
Hey, dude.
Hey, dude. How's it going, dude? What's up, dude? How are you?
Working my butt off lately, so I just thought I'd pop in here and say hi.
Look at this background. Look at this stately background. You look like you're in a ski lodge with all that wood.
Yeah.
And looks like you have a mud room with scarves hanging up, and what a lovely place that is. That your house? Do you live there?
I'd love to be funny and lie to you, but this is a set extension, really. So the door you see on this side, I'm in my condo.
Is this some green screen shit you're showing me?
Yeah, it's a green screen shit.
Oh,
it's good though, right?
It's really good. I was like,
because I was looking.
See, I want to believe, man. When people show me things, I just believe.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe.
This is my mudroom. My dog is sleeping over there. The cat is nestled in over here.
Nice.
On a duvet that my wife made. It's movie magic.
Fair, it is movie magic. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. You can't. You're one of the only people I sent you the first act of this project we've been working on. I've refined it. I'm pretty happy with that first act. What did you think of the new first act? I don't think you'd read all of it before, all of that first act, had you?
Well, I had, and putting me on the spot. I read everything back in August, so it's been a while, and I've been reading scripts like crazy.
But you haven't read the entire script, have you? I didn't say the entire script.
I don't think so. Like, I know how it ends. I've read that, but I don't have the full. Yeah, I don't have the full picture yet.
Yeah, because I've been really working to refine it. But the those 27 pages, that first act is pretty solid. That's pretty much.
I got to say, I can't wait to be able to talk about it. And I, of course, I won't, and we won't.
Yeah, but I'm just curious because not many. I've only sent it to a very few people. So, and I've really refined because the opening sequence is a long flashbacky montagey thing, and I want to direct that so bad. Like, I want to make this movie since the 80s.
Yeah,
and you have gone a long way to help me visualize.
I appreciate that.
Going to feel like. And,
yeah, I mean, I'd love to go along for the whole ride if we can make this happen.
Are you kidding? Oh, you're in.
Yeah.
You know, but what I was also thinking of like, you know, your artwork. I mean, we're half there's a graphic novel. You know, we should do it. We should just do the script and translate it into graphic novel form and keep going. And like, I was thinking about crowdfunding the whole thing. And because, like, why not? And get you paid. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't need to get paid for my script, but I would crowdfund it, publish it, but only to pay you to do your incredible art. And I would give you the animatics the way I see it, but then you translate it, and so great.
Wow, you know, I think I'm a clever guy sometimes, but that had never occurred to me till you just said it.
I'm
Dude,
like,
why not?
Yeah, I'm like, because there's a lot of things that are outlandish. So, for those of people who don't know, I have been working. There is a particular book, I don't want to say what it is, that I've wanted to make since the 80s. And I've been working with the author of the book. And he did a draft of the script that I have been rewriting, and with his full knowledge and blessing. And he really likes what I've been doing, because I've been refining it, because I want to direct this movie, and I've seen it in my head for years, but now I'm refining the script to more accurately convey what we see. You know, what the images of how I want to see it. And I see it much more clearly now. And then you, sir, Xevious, has been doing storyboards for me that I have been cutting into an animatic story reel. And how we were working was, I was basically, in advertising, you do something called, or at least I used to do these things called ripomatics, where you would steal shots from other people's commercials and cut them together into the commercial you wanted to make, to show as an example of, like, okay, this is what I want to do. So the ad agency could look at it and go, yeah. And so when I worked, like, I did that for in the mid 90s, I was tasked to do a series of commercials that I produced and edited for the CBS Evening News after Connie Chung and Dan Rather split. And so what you do, like in animation, you do story reels before you get to animatics, and you do story reels where you take still frames and then you put them you cut them into a story reel, so you can actually, even though they're stills, you can sometimes add lighting effects and animation, but you can watch an approximation of what the movie would look like. Yep. And so you've been helping me. We kind of had to take a break. I mean, my whole life kind of went on hold for about 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. That's curtailed the comic book, or the film festival and this, but now I'm getting back into all this stuff, because I'm over this hump of the work, so I need to get back into it.
Well, I'm here. That'd be so easy to get me to come along for this. That'd be a blast, man.
Yeah, I mean, but I, you know, I also don't believe you can't do the work for free. Got to get paid.
Oh, for sure.
And I do owe you. You know, we're gonna do this. So but doing a whole graphic novel of the entire script might be pretty cool.
You know, I'm gonna have to sleep on that one, but you've seen a bit of the book that I'm working on.
It's amazing. Your artwork's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, I've been working from script the same. I've been doing TV commercials for 27 years now too. So storyboarding, that's not a big thing. But to take the scenes that are already done, just to kind of make them come from one to the next, and to put the dialogue in there too, like temp. That's not even going to be very hard.
Oh yeah, and I just want to. I'm going to throw up for people that are watching since it's the inaugural show. I would like so. I will. I'm going to tell people. In my mind, I have certain cast members that I want to be in this particular movie, and I have asked Xevious to draw the storyboards with the cast that I have in mind in the storyboards, because nowadays people ask you, well, who do you want to star in it, and what do you want it to look like? So I just figured it would be easier to have this particular actor, and I'll say, like, the actor that I really want to play the lead in this film, he's age appropriate, is in fact Kurt Russell. So I'm going to show some of your art. Cool. Here is a piece of art that you did for this project, and there is Kurt Russell, and this is one of the storyboards that you did for me. You can see that you drew it full aperture, full frame, and then matted for 235. But so here is a 70-year-old plus Kurt Russell as I described him, and Xevious drew him in the for this project. Now, I don't want to say much more than that, but there you go. So, and I mean, you talk about nailing it, and it was very interesting. I sent that picture to the author of the book, and he was just over the moon. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
It's funny. I mean, I hold my tongue, but there was a tweet a couple months ago, because I follow him on Twitter, and somebody made fun of your hair or his hair. So actually, I tweeted back to both you guys, and I took the line from the book, and it went over his head. And I was like, darn it, because you know the line, right? Yeah. And anyway, it was kind of funny.
Well, he doesn't even remember. Yeah. Like it's yes. I mean, by the way, he's a great guy. I love him to death, and because he doesn't remember. He wrote the book like 35 years ago, and
that's what I figured. Yeah.
And the script. I mean, yeah, I even paid him to write that script in the 16 years ago. Yeah, and it's funny going back through it again and rewriting the whole thing, because I've added, like, the whole opening scene that you drew, that was not in the book, and I wrote that in the script because I'm like, you got to show what our other main character does, you have to see him in his element. That's how the movie has to open.
See, and I'm so sold, because the first time I heard it, I thought, you said it was kind of just needle drop stuff. It's a little bit cheesy, like kind of Christian rock or something.
Yeah.
But then after, you did your second cut of it, and I watched it, and now I've actually put it on because I kind of crave it. It's like, I want to put that song on. I'll go full screen here, and I'll watch those graphics and the God only knows thing. And yeah, it's really, really good.
By the way, you did such a great job. The artwork you did is amazing. That whole thing. And it cuts together really well. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, you get it, and
I think so. Again, I mean, I'm flattered as hell, but it's, there's coming through the filtered light going sort of from outside to inside. Yeah. Like, the wire cam goes around and sort of centers on our dude.
Yeah.
So can't wait to see another one. It's been 6 months, 8 months.
I know. And I've got more animatics. I mean, I've done more animatics, like, because in this opening scene, there's terrorist bombings, there's space collisions, there's so many assassinations. It's like, and all we need is like the first 10 pages. I think we're 4 minutes in now. So
we need to do a call we can actually, like, not sort of have to tiptoe around here.
Right.
One of these days.
Yes.
And I know how busy you are, and I am too. But there's some things I have issues here with. Well, no, good issues. I've got some ideas of how we could draw this thing and that thing.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, and I just need to, and I want to get back into it, because one of the things, all my projects are ending. Tango Shalom is out there. Dota, Dota second season, doing the sound mix and all that. But let me ask you something. So, first of all, thanks for coming on this new show, the Robservations Midnighter, and you are doing can you talk about what you're doing now?
I can. Yep.
So what you're doing now is tell everybody, tell the folks at home what you're doing now.
Okay, I'm I've done television stuff. I've done a lot of far too much commercial corporate video, stuff for grocery stores and oil companies and whatever. But I've been a musician my whole life, and yeah, I won't give you the life story, but I decided to get out of that stuff about 2 years ago, get in here, and just sort of see what happens. So I got a cover here, got a cover there, and like one person leads to the next. So you never know, what's going to happen.
Right.
And there's a very prominent figure sort of in our mutual space, be that Post-Geek Singularity. His name's Zuby, and he's a motivational speaker. Became aware of him on Joe Rogan, and he's a funny guy. He's maybe on the, I think I've heard you say too, but I'm certainly a classic liberal. But I like some people who are sort of more on the conservative side, and it's not a thing. But
yeah, I mean, I like all kinds of people, and that's people are always surprised. Like, why do you watch that person? I'm like, why wouldn't you?
No. But so Zuby, and I hope probably a lot of your audience, he's a guy who gets up at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like up and at her, sees the day, hit the gym, do stuff. But he's amazingly talented, and he's become friends with a lot of people I like to watch, like Jordan Peterson. He did a show with Gad Sad about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I like Gad Sad.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
he's the funniest. Like my time local, it's about 5 a.m. He just starts cracking stuff.
He's very funny.
We've got some mutual friends too.
I want to read his new book.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah, we got you here. Angel, did you say hello? So now I can hear you. You're good. Angel's good. So, yeah, hang on a second. I'm going to bring you on.
So I'll give you the short version. So Zuby followed me. And I think it's because Gina Carano followed me. And this is kind of the way that, I've only been on social for less than 2 years. But you have a fun day. It's like, holy shit. I mean, Zuby, and I did a drawing for him. Because he did this Monday morning thing. He's like, what have you done last week? And what are you going to do this week? And I just said, I did 6 pages from my upcoming book. And I'm going to do 6 more this week. And he's like, bro, in fact, dude, we talked the first time you and I met. Because we talk like that. And he said, bro, that's dope. I was like, okay. And then someone complimented me on Twitter, and I gave like a heart and a humble thank you, and boom, Zuby followed me. Because being kind on Twitter, I think, is a good way to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he DM'd me like maybe 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey, I need an animated video. Can you do it? And I've been messing around with Flash since like 98, so 20 years.
Yeah.
And I did one for Mike Miller is the comic book artist for Game of Thrones, among other things. And you gotta be humble coming into the business. And he's like, hey, my 17-year-old son needs a video, like a trailer for his game. $500. Can you do it? And I'm like, dude. So I'm working for a 17-year-old, $500, but I got a foot in the door, and I got to know some people. So then when Zuby's like, can you animate something? I'm like, yeah, dude, no problem. So then I scrambled. I stayed up all night, and I cut together a demo reel from a thing I did about 15 years ago, and then the thing I did 2 years ago, just animated. I scored it all, because, like I did the music for your Let's Get Physical.
Yeah, yeah.
I scored it. Which is
great.
Yeah, I mean, thanks. That was a lark. It was a half an hour. So I scored it, and he made me wait for a couple of days. That's the worst thing about the business, I guess, right? And then he just asked me for a price, and I gave him this pretty good range, and it's good cash. And he's like, it was like middle of the night. He's in Southampton, in England. He's like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just do it. And he sent me a significant amount of. So I sent him a contract. I actually borrowed some from ours, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
This is a work for hire arrangement. The work referred to herein is in perpetuity held by. I didn't need a lawyer. I just basically stole something. And so now I'm chatting with do you follow
yours.
Zuby? Oh, thank you. So do you follow Zuby? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know he is.
He's amazing. So we talk like almost every day. Like I was chatting with him this morning. So what he wanted me to do is he wants his 4th single. It's going to happen in August or so. It's him and 2 other guest rappers as animated superheroes doing stuff. And I was like, what's the story? He's like, dude, I trust you to do it. So I'm writing it, storyboarding it, directing, producing, editing, And because it's a rap video, I need to hit all the beats, and it's going to be 4 minutes long. So I've bit off.
Oh my god!
What do you think?
That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
But it could be awesome.
It will be awesome. And, you know, I mean, I was very clear that this is going to be like mid-90s Superman kind of style.
Yeah.
So no cell shading, I might, you know, it's going to be layering effects.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tricks you can do with like ping files. It's like I might have a cloud go by. It's just like, I mean, everything's labors. It's like, okay, you know, I don't know. I haven't written it yet. And I've got about 2 weeks left to do it. So maybe he goes into a tree and rescues the cat and the leaves are rustling.
Sure.
So I can do that on a layer. And then maybe like a bird flies by just for some texture. Maybe it matches the cymbal or the hi-hat. Okay.
Oh, man. You've got so much work you're going to have to do.
I know. Yeah. But the funny thing is that it is like, I like rap. I'm an 80s guy. And I mean, Zuby, I like some of his stuff, some of it, you know, but this song is, it's called Underrated. And it's just this kind of it's not dissing anybody else, but it's like, I'm underrated, man. He immediately starts talking about Clockwork Orange. He's like the Kravi in my body.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing, he's spinning canes, his eyelashes grow, stuff happens. And I'm just sitting here sketching, just like, it's going to be crazy where this winds up.
Yep.
And it goes to a guest rapper. And this is a guy named Mac Lethal. Have you heard of him?
No.
Okay, so he's this guy from Kansas. I'm like, oh, he's some kid. So I Googled him. And the first hit I saw on YouTube had 33 million views. Like, oh shit! So this guy's a hitter, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to step up your game, bruh.
I know. And I looked at a couple more videos. It's like, hey, here's me on Ellen, and I'll send you a link to one of them. It's so funny. But he's on Ellen. I guess they're buddies. So you know, I mean, the wheels are turning in my head, right? I'm like, okay, in the door with that guy.
We'll finish my project first. Let's get...
Well, no, dude, this is gonna. I mean, hey, I don't sleep. I'm the same as you. I'm a vampire. But to me, and then his rap segment is all about the Mandalorian.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm not going to try and get a clearance with Disney. Screw that. And then he rhymes Mandalorian with DeLorean. So I'm going to put in Gina Carano with him because I can ask her. And then I'm going to have the DeLorean in a semi non-copyright flyby, right? With like a and it's going to take off. And then here's the kicker. The third guest rapper is a guy named Shadow. He's in Japan. He's this really handsome young guy. And he is a rapper / ninja manga writer. And
of course he is.
Of course he is, right? And he's this tall, skinny, you know, not African-American, but whatever. What is a dark-colored person in Japan? Who knows? And I've given him this crazy manga, like spiky flat top like this. So I was sitting over here when you started your show designing costumes for these three dudes. So, I mean, I could not be having more fun. I mean, because I listened to some interviews with him last night. And you know Bruce Lee's classic, the shiny satin yellow outfit with the black stripe?
Yeah, that they ripped off for, well, not ripped off, paid homage to in Kill Bill Volume 1.
Kill Bill, exactly. So I've got this dude.
Game of Death? Game of Death.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. So I built his costume. I'm just finishing up now. I'm going to send this stuff up before I go to bed. But, I mean, do I not have the coolest job, like,
dude,
ever?
The coolest. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being here. It's always good to talk with you, and we will talk further. And this sounds amazing. I can't wait to see this until it's finished. But you have your work cut out for you, so I
do.
I don't envy you. But I want to thank you for being on this first episode of Robservations Midnighter. So
cool.
Thanks
for having me.
It's great to have you here, and I will bid you farewell for now. But I will see you again shortly. And now I can bring back on, I think the technical difficulties are alleviated. I'm going to throw them in. Angel M is next to come on the show. I need to, of course, throw him in. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to put Angel M in. Wait, hold please. I didn't do a very good job of doing it, but I will. I'll be better. So Angel M is coming in, and it's funny. I knew I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this for 90 minutes. Pshaw, 90 minutes, right? Like this show would last for 90 minutes. Of course it couldn't last for 90. It's going to go longer. It's always going to go longer. So, Angel M, please give a warm welcome to Angel M. Angel M, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
So tell us your story, sir. Who are you? Where are you? And when did you become an imagination connoisseur?
I actually live kind of close to you. I'm in West Covina, California.
No, you do live close to me.
Yeah. So my first memory of a movie was my dad took me to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wow.
And ever since then, I was just obsessed with Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford, and also with the World War II era.
Right.
So it kind of gave me two things to really get into.
Because there are no better villains than Nazis.
They're
well dressed and they all deserve to die. So, when you've got, that's the Rocketeer. I mean, Timothy Dalton's like working for Nazis. There's nothing better.
I don't know if you could see it, but I got a Rocketeer poster in the background.
Oh, I do see that. That's, you know what? That was the last American one sheet that was worth buying. I love that poster. That artwork, that deco artwork is amazing.
I got all the comic books and
Dave Stevens' artwork. Oh, so good. So good. Love it. By the way, Orville Nation, PJ from Orville Nation is going to come on after you, I hope. Orville Nation says to us, "Hey, Rob, great to see you on at this hour. Those in Europe are greatly appreciating this. Regards, PJ," but he disappeared. Kelvin Welborn, who was here, says, "Thanks for tonight. I have a physical media question. Is there ever going to be a restored The Alamo on Blu-ray? The Roadshow video was released years ago." Well, Kelvin, unfortunately, I believe the chairman at the time of MGM did not want to pay the money they needed to restore it, so the negative might be gone forever. It was a big deal. So, Angel, do you collect physical media?
I do.
You do?
I collect a lot of things. Yes.
So have you pre-ordered, or are you going to buy the box set of all the Indiana Jones movies on 4K next month?
I have pre-ordered it. That was a no-brainer.
Did you pre-order it are you getting the Steelbooks or just the regular?
I'm getting it through Amazon, so I don't think that's a Steelbook, but I'm going to try to get the Steelbook.
Yeah, the Xevious. If you go to Xevious, they've got a good Steelbook set. But I'm with you. So let me ask you this. What are some of your favorite physical media releases over the last year? Have you bought anything that really floated your boat?
There hasn't really been, at least what I've been looking for, there hasn't been a lot coming out. I just picked up, I don't know if you can see it, the Saw Steelbook.
Oh, yeah. The 4K.
Yeah.
That's a
4K.
pretty dope Steelbook.
And then I just picked up, Speed.
Oh, yeah. I have to get that. So I got Speed coming, Animal House, and The Sting in 4K.
Yeah. I try to get all my stuff on Steelbook, but now Best Buy doesn't have anything really when you go in store.
I know. I mean, it's so. I was at Best Buy the other day with the girls picking up a computer cable, and I'm just like, there's only one little kiosk of physical media. I'm like, what?
They have nothing there. They say on site that it's there, and then you go there, and they have no section anymore.
Terrible. We live in dark times.
So Rob, I knew you would be the person to ask, but when I was younger, when I was around 7 or 8, my mom and dad would go to the video store and rent VHSs, and so they would pick out one for the kids. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Wow.
They'd pick out one movie for the kids, which usually was a movie for my older sister, so it would be these B horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would pick up these movies for them to watch. And a lot of them used to be war movies for my dad. But there was a horror movie that I watched with my sister, and it took place in a mortuary where I don't remember if there were college kids doing a like a hazing thing. But
Well, there was a
dead
movie
body-
called Mortuary from the 80s.
Right, and I looked that up, and it wasn't the movie that I was looking for, but I remember one specific scene where the body started coming out of the walls of the little coffins in the wall. I don't know what you call it. The coffins in the walls. And I've been looking for that movie ever since, and I cannot find it.
Oh, see, now you've got me all Twitter. I'm gonna have to find that for you. I'm gonna have to look it up and find it, because I mean, there's different things I'm thinking of, but they're not. I know it's not what you're looking for. I'll have to figure that out. I mean, I was thinking like the original Phantasm takes place in a mortuary.
Right.
And they do
which my dad showed me when I was probably 10 years old, I think.
Oh my God. I mean, my dad, it's so funny. My dad, when that opened in 1979, my dad took me to the theater because it was rated R. I was 12, and we went to the Crossroads Cinema, and he took me in, and he watched the first 5 minutes. And the first 5 minutes, a naked girl and her boyfriend, you don't know what's going on. The lady in lavender and Tommy are having sex on a gravestone in the graveyard. And then she kills him. She stabs him in the chest. And my dad gets up and walked out of the theater. And then it's so funny, he was offended and left, but he left me in the theater because he knew I wanted to see the movie. And like, he went out and smoked his cigar for 90 minutes. And when I came out, I'm like, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen.
So what's your opinion on parents letting their kids watch movies like that at a young age? Because I know for us, my parents didn't really have any restrictions for us as far as movies were concerned. Like, I remember, I mean, this is probably really bad, but when I was around 8 or 9, I remember seeing the first Porky's.
Yeah, but here's what's so funny to me. Like, in this country, in America, people are like, oh my God, Porky's with all the nudity and the sex. And then you're like, well, what about like Texas Chainsaw Massacre? That's fine. But the nudity and the sex, you can't see that. I mean, my whole thing is this. I was watching a lot of inappropriate things. I was reading much more inappropriate things. Like, the horror novels I was reading, horrible it was great. Graphic violence, incredible sex, like really graphic sex, and all kinds of hideousness that I shouldn't have been reading. The real question to ask is, do you have kids that can handle it? And if you're a parent that is active in your kids' lives, you know what they can handle and what they can't. And my parents, they just trusted me. I mean, I was a pretty responsible kid, but I got away with so much. The only time I almost got busted was when I was like 11, and there's a horror novel, a British horror novelist called James Herbert, who the new movie that came out, The Unholy, was based on his book Shrine that I read in like 1985. But he wrote these really sexually explicit B horror novels that had great violence, like The Rats, The Survivor, The Fog, nothing to do with Carpenter's movie, The Dark. And he wrote these movies that were pretty he wrote these books that were pretty hideous. And I'd asked for them for my birthday, and my aunt went to the bookstore to buy them for me. And the woman behind the counter was like, well, how old is the person you're buying these books for? My aunt's like, oh, he's 11. And the woman at the bookstore didn't want my aunt to buy these books for me because they were so graphic. And my aunt's like, they're just monster horror stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what they are. So, I mean, I think that, there's an element of I think kids should have curated experiences. But you have to be able to read your kids. Like, can they handle it or not?
I think for us, we were kind of just given a choice. You could either watch these movies, or you can go play Coleco or Atari or whatever.
ColecoVision, Donkey Kong.
Yeah, whatever was out at the time. And a lot of times when our movie was over, I would stay there with my mom and dad and watch the movies that they would watch. So I wound up watching like a lot of war movies, like Uncommon Valor.
I love that movie. By the way, I just want to say, Midnight's Edge After Dark says the movie that you might be looking for is One Dark Night, directed by Tom McLaughlin.
That sounds familiar. That does sound familiar.
One Dark Night. That's why I love this show. I think that was Tom who wrote that in for Midnight's Edge. So One Dark Night might be the movie you are looking for.
I'll go on the look for it.
And go ahead. Sorry.
Well, one question I've been wanting to talk to you about is I see a lot of people with DC movies. The one thing I never hear them bring up is I think there's no stability with the actors. And I think that's a reason why people don't want to go see the movies. I mean, like, you see Henry Cavill, but before that you saw Brandon Routh. Now you see Henry Cavill. Now you have, potentially another Superman coming in. And then you had Christian Bale as Batman. Then you had Ben Affleck. Now you have Robert Pattinson. And I think that turns a lot of people off. When you look at the MCU, Chris Evans has been there since the beginning with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth. And every time you look up at a DC movie, you see a different actor in the role. And so...
No, I think that's a really good point. I mean, it's interesting because, like, Christian Bale, if someone's in a trilogy of movies, you feel like, okay, I think we're conditioned to think that a trilogy is a finished thing, and then it can be done. Like the end of The Dark Knight Rises is a pretty definitive, nice ending when Alfred sees Bruce Wayne enjoying himself. It feels with Anne Hathaway, it feels it's a nice ending. But a lot of these movies, like Superman Returns, I really would love to have seen Brandon Routh do a real, now that he's back, a proper fighting a villain kind of a thing. I think people wanted that, and you don't get it. And I think you're right. I mean, the MCU, people forget that the MCU is 13 years old this year. Iron Man came out in 2008, and so we had Tony Stark through, 2019 when Endgame came out? 2019. That's an 11-year period of time. I mean, that's a pretty good run for these characters, and there's still a lot of them are still around. So I agree with you. There's a consistency there that people get to experience that they don't get to experience with, say, DC. And I think you're right. I think that's part of it. And you never know if they're going to make another movie. And then when they do, I mean, all due respect to people that liked it, I was really disappointed by Wonder Woman 84. I was really looking forward to that film, and I'm like, really? This, after dealing with World War I, real history, and having Diana deal with man's world in such a way, you're going to make it some really strange wish fulfillment fantasy film that goes in an entirely different direction. I'm like, this is not what the character that Gal Gadot has originated should be doing. It was just really weird. And so I think it's not just actors, it's consistency of the kind of stories they want to tell too. Because they don't know.
Right. So, I think, and with today, I think people are more conditioned now with the MCU that actors, it's not just a trilogy anymore. It's 4, 5, 6 movies. And so, they don't see The Dark Knight as a trilogy. I mean, maybe for us movie watchers, yes, but for someone like my mom who watches a movie here and there,
right,
she thinks it's an MCU type deal. So, and I think that hurts DC a lot. I really do.
I agree. That's a good point. Now, let me ask you this. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
I'm looking forward to Dune. I remember my older brother just watching that movie all the time. And I never sat down, I never watched it.
Have you read the book?
I haven't read the book. I actually have the audiobook.
You should listen to the audiobook or read the novel. It's a fantastic novel.
and that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I should do that before the movie comes out or after. So if you could recommend me on that.
I would read it before.
Okay.
Read it before. Because it's an enjoyable experience. And I'll tell you this, I mean, I read the script for the movie. I loved the script. I thought it was a terrific adaptation. And I can't wait to see the film. And I love the idea that they've now committed fully to a theatrical release for Dune, as opposed to showing it on streaming. So thank God for that.
So, yeah. And then I was looking forward to Fast 9, but I guess after hearing your disappointment, I don't know if I'm as happy now to watch it. I do want to see. I'm a big Saw fan, obviously, with the.
Yeah, I can't wait. I haven't seen Spiral yet, but I really want to see it.
I'm waiting to go. I'm fully vaccinated, like you are.
Yeah.
So, and my local IMAX is showing it. So.
I'm going to be very curious to see what the reaction to Fast 9 is.
Me too.
I'm I'm embargoed, but I was baffled by it, to be honest.
Even for a Fast and the Furious movie,
well, what's interesting to me is, like, I really liked the Fast and the Furious franchise up until the 5th movie. I loved Fast 5. I loved Tokyo Drift. I loved the first film for what it was. And then Fast 6, the runway, the endless runway that the plane was on, I was like, it strained credulity. And by the time you get to Fast 7, I was like, there's no... Fast 5 it skirted the edge of believability for me, with the two cars pulling a vault, smashing through Rio and all that. That was the edge of credulity for me, and verisimilitude. And then Fast 6, Fast 7, Fast 8, they threw out any semblance, each movie more so than the one before, threw out any stab at reality. Any stab. And Fast 9 throws it out the window completely. There is no verisimilitude in the film. And I was like, and from the opening scene, you're like, what? And I find that because it's almost like the filmmakers are winking at the audience. And I was really, I like Justin Lin a lot. I loved Tokyo Drift a lot more than most people. And then he did Tokyo Drift, he did Fast and Furious, he did Fast 5 and Fast 6. But Fast 5 I thought was terrific. And I have to say that with Fast 9, I wondered what happened. I was left just, and some people really liked it. I'm like, it abandoned me. The Fast and the Furious franchise abandoned me with this movie.
Even if you turn your brain off?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Now, I watched the movie yesterday, and City of Lies. Are you familiar with this? Have you seen it?
Yep.
Do you have any idea why this was pulled from the theater like 2 years ago?
Obviously the case it deals with, it's very controversial. And I think that it's interesting because there's a tie for this project I'm working on with this movie, and I don't know. I don't know why they pulled it. I liked it. What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it, especially for, I grew up during this time frame. I was in high school when this stuff happened. So
yeah, tell people what City of Lies is about.
City of Lies is about Detective Russell Poole, who was investigating a cop murder to begin with, and then as he starts unraveling the strings, it finds out that they might have had something to do with Notorious B.I.G.
Yep, getting murdered.
Yeah, so This is a movie I wanted to see. I remember seeing the trailer in the theater once, and then I never heard anything from it again.
Yeah, it was like pulled from, but it's very controversial and all that. But I liked it. I thought it was good.
And it's funny because at the same time, USA Network came out with a show which was based on the very same thing, which was called, I think, Unsolved.
Yeah.
And that's on Netflix, and I've been watching that too. So, but I haven't heard anyone talk about this movie, so I just kind of want to know what you thought.
Yeah, it's pretty new. I mean, I liked it. I watched it because of the subject matter. I thought it was pretty good.
And you don't have an issue with Johnny Depp being in the movie? I know some people do, but
no. I mean, I'm a big fan. Look, people's personal lives are messed up. Everybody,
right,
and I don't. The whole Amber Heard thing. There's all kinds of, and if you're talking about actors that are making as much and living the life that he is, I mean, if you like his movies, why is his personal life any of our business?
Right.
I've always felt that way about everyone. I'm like, when you're on set doing something, like your personal life shouldn't affect what people think of you. People are like, we're all nuts. And I never blame anyone for, look, if somebody does something hideous, I'm not going to watch their products anymore. But, Johnny Depp has provided me entertainment for the better part of, since Nightmare on Elm Street, when he got sucked into his bed and spit out on his ceiling. I've liked Johnny Depp, 21 Jump Street. And he's lived he became a huge movie star. So I will not put that against him. And he whether he's making movies in Japan or making movies with Roman Polanski, I still enjoy him as a performer. So.
And do you think he'll still be working?
I think so. I think he's well liked, and I think once he puts all this tabloid business behind him, he's got to stop drinking wine. He drinks like copious amounts of wine. He just has to clean his act up a bit. But I like him.
So, a real quick John Schnepp story. I was walking at City Walk, obviously before he passed, and I was walking to the store Things from Another World.
Yep.
Schnepp was always laughing. So I see this guy, quite short, 5'5". So Schnepp is a tall dude.
He's
and I see this guy walking, and I've been, and I see this guy walking and laughing, and it was John Schnepp, and even though he's an internet personality, I still got kind of starstruck. So I went and I talked to him really quick, and he shook my hand, and he was coming out of Things from Another World, and so which that makes total sense. And he was just such a nice guy, and I miss watching him with Campia. And
I miss him every day, man. I really do.
So. And with that, I want to tell you. Because I could have wrote this in, but I thought I'd tell you in person that my father passed away not too long ago. And so I was kind of going through some depression, but it's people like you and people like John Campia who give us their time. And with that, you make us feel a part of a community. And for those few hours that we get with you guys, we get to forget about something like my dad passing away. And I've even had a couple of family members pass away from COVID this past summer. So with that, you guys do a lot. You guys do a lot for us, and you entertain us. You make us happy. You make us laugh, and you make us think about things. And that's why I love this channel so much.
Well, Angel, I can't thank you enough for saying that and coming on, and being on the show. I mean, I didn't know, to be honest. I'm going to do a midnight show. I don't know what the show's going to be. When I started out doing Robservations, I'm like, my only idea for the show, the Midnighter, is to have people on it. And I was like, maybe no one wants to be on it. But to have you come on and to say that, first of all, thank you so much. It means a great deal to me to hear you say that, because one of the things I didn't know, you don't know when you do something how it's going to evolve. And the community, it was all my idea for doing my own show was I want it to be if I'm doing a panel at a sci-fi convention. Everybody's singing in the audience, I'll talk, and then afterwards we'll all go grab beers and talk. Because I've been going to conventions since I was a kid, so I'm like, can I recreate that? But having now this community, I wanted to do something where we could all talk. Like it's a late night radio talk show with imagination connoisseurs like you.
It's an internet version of Coast to Coast, only about movies.
I know, right? But I would love to talk about aliens and spontaneous human combustion. Anything that Art Bell talked about, I'm in. But listen, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm going to have my last guest follow you up. PJ of the Orville Nation is going to be my last. I mean, I was going to do this show until 2, but you know, I'm gonna end it shortly. But I want to thank you, Angel. First of all, thank you very much for the kind words, and I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for coming back. I know there's a little technical difficulties. We ironed that shit out, and you came back on, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I hope to see you again. And I know I will see you again. So thanks for being here. And the first episode of Robservations Midnighter. And thanks for being, you are a Midnighter. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure that PJ from the Orville Nation, can you hear me, PJ? Oh, yeah, you are live. You are in the Pike 5x5, as they said in Aliens. I'm going to bring you on as our last guest on the inaugural show of Robservations. Right? Robservations, The Midnighter. And it's good to stream with you again. So hang on. It's been interesting. I mean, you know, well, hang on. Let me actually put you on the show now. I've got you adjusted. Everybody, welcome PJ from Orville Nation. So, well, first of all, what were you saying? Please compliment me some more.
I was just congratulating Rob. You know, I was watching you from the beginning, and congrats, and you've had quite a journey with your channel.
It's been really interesting. You know, I'm still trying to finish up my film festival that's now 6 months overdue, 6 months late. But we're finishing it, and people make great films. And we're going to do our short story contest, which I've been putting. It's only because of work. But what's so funny is the thing that I didn't know, like I didn't know, I'd been on YouTube, but I'd been on YouTube like on Collider, and I would just walk into a room and show up, and they'd turn the cameras on, we'd talk, and I would leave. And I didn't think about it till the next week. Like I wasn't following it. You know, this is back in 2015. I wasn't. And one of the things that has happened by doing this show is the community. But it's not just the community of people that watch me. It's everyone else. It's like, well, Orville Nation or Midnight's Edge, even Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers or Nerdrotic or Az. I mean, there's a lot of people in this space that I didn't even know when I started this channel. And I've really enjoyed meeting everybody, you know, that works in this space. And I've been quite frankly blown away. And for the most part, it has been a resoundingly positive experience.
Yeah, it seems like it has been. Yeah, for your channel. Yeah, absolutely. For me too. It's been very
people
positive.
have been so cool. And even, you know, it's so funny to me. Like I tend to like everybody. Like I always try and find the people. I try and find qualities about everybody that I like. But boy, there's a lot of people that expect people to stay in their lanes when it comes to YouTube. Like, why did you talk to that person? I'm like, well, because I like them. You know, and that's been interesting to see the pushback I've been getting. I mean, the whole premise of this channel is to talk to everybody.
Well, you're like me in that sense. Like I get along well with everybody. So
yeah.
I'll have people on my panel, and it's like I'm not really paying attention to what the panelist is doing on his own channel. But I mean, somebody might not like what they're doing on their own channel, but that doesn't really concern me. So.
Right. I feel exactly the same way. I am not my brother's keeper. But then people approach
you and they say, well, why did you have that person on? Because you'll never guess what they said on their channel.
But what's funny, let me ask you about that then. So, like, I don't feel it's even my responsibility Like if I'm bringing someone on my channel and want to have a good conversation, I'm having a good conversation. I'm not there to police someone's life.
Yeah.
You know, whatever they do in their spare time, I don't know and I don't care. Like, unless, of course, they commit some hideous crime. They transgress the laws of the land in some way. Then I'm like, that's not cool. And then I probably wouldn't associate myself with them. But if they're a personality that has not engaged in criminal behavior or something, I like to talk to everybody.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, in general, I don't have any problems, but I have lost a few interviews because somebody said I didn't like the person who was on your panel. I'm like, you know, well, I mean, I don't think it warrants, like, in general, the people who are on my panels are, you know, just middle of the road, to be honest.
But also, I find it strange that we live in a world where, I mean, unless you're like a genocidal maniac, or you've shot up a school or something that is unforgivable, I don't understand why expressing opinions, even if those opinions are inherently bad or you don't agree with them, why is that some kind of criminal transgression? And I've always thought, look, if somebody has a bad take and they're speaking publicly, well, then you can speak up. You're like, this person came and spoke on this channel and I don't agree with what he said. That's why I like YouTube. It's very democratic. There's lots of comments, and if people hate your stuff, they'll tell you. But when people start coming after you personally and going, well, I don't trust you because of who you had on your channel, that's a different thing. That's a weird, like, what are you saying? That I should only show people that you approve of? How do we learn?
Yeah. And the funny thing is that a lot of people on social media and YouTube are expressing their views. But if if they might be your neighbor, who you say hi to every day, and you just don't engage in these conversations with your neighbor. But so, I mean, I think, like, people have to be really more open-minded and just patient with, and just, give love to to everybody you're meeting. Hey, Robert, if I can just, before I forget something, if I can just give a shout out for Mark Zickery. Mark Zickery is he's doing his Space Command campaign.
Yep.
And if anybody, he's doing it from now till June 4th. If anybody can support his, what he calls independent television, he's doing what a lot of people should be doing.
And finishing it. He faced a lot of adversity. I have to say, for those of you who don't know who Mark Zickery is, he wrote a book that I've gone through 3 copies of. And it was the first book that I destroyed. And that book was The Twilight Zone Companion. And Mark Zickery wrote the most exhaustively researched book on the Twilight Zone ever. And in the 80s, when the first volume came out, I've never had a book that fell apart because I was watching every episode with that book open. I'd already seen all the Twilight Zones, and then when they started marathoning them, and I've owned multiple copies of this book, and when they remastered the series for CBS, I know Mark Zickery, and I appreciate what he's been doing, and yes, he's somebody to support.
He found, he came across a whole bunch of recordings from Rod Sterling, and he's going to do something with them. He's going to, engage in a new project.
Oh my God, how amazing would that be?
He has, I don't know, Rod, apparently Rod at some point donated to some university a whole bunch of recordings, hundreds and hundreds of hours of recordings, and apparently Mark has gotten hold of that.
Wow.
And nobody's ever even listened to them. So
I would love that. That would be amazing. I mean, he's done so many interesting interviews, and it would be great. I didn't know he's running another Space Command crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, he just started. He's going to June 4th. He's halfway there right now. And listen, just speaking to the audience, we're all complaining about things we don't like in sci-fi. If you want an alternative, Space Command is a good alternative.
Yeah.
And he's making it happen. Like you said, he's had a lot of trouble, but he's making it happen. So congrats to him.
Mm-hmm. And finishing, I mean, unlike some other projects I might have been involved with that have yet to be finished. I mean, I've been involved with them for a long time, but I mean, the first one we had was 7 years ago. And then I did one in 2015, which was 3 minutes long.
What's on your bucket list that you want to do, Rob?
Well, I've only directed one movie in my life, but my goal is to write and direct 5 movies. I've done 4. I mean, I've done 1. And but there are all of these movies I know, they're all based on books. And I hopefully, the problem is that I made one film that made no money and no one saw it. But I'm hoping to get it out. It's a lost film, essentially. You can't really see it in the version I want. So that's what I want to do. Also, I self-published a comic book that I'm hoping to turn into a TV series. And I just have a lot of things that I want to do. I just want to keep making things. I mean, I want to make things. I want to be like Clint Eastwood. I want to be like 90 years old and still directing movies.
Yeah.
And,
isn't that great?
Yeah, and celebrate everything that I mean, I've been very fortunate. Like this past year, 2020 was interesting because I was stuck here, and Shout Factory put out a movie I produced back in 2000, and it came out in 2009, The Hills Run Red, and they finally put it out on Blu-ray, and Dave Parker, the director, and I are like, well, we basically pushed this project forward. Can we make special features? Because I was in Bulgaria producing this movie in 2008, and I had shot 30 hours of footage that no one had really ever seen. So I got to Dave and I created a great special edition of that movie. I mean, no one's seen it, but it was nominated at the Rondo Awards for its special features, which was vindicating. And then working on Dota Dragon's End, the Netflix animated series. That's something else I've been doing, sitting at the computer. Working on John Campia's movie Trailers, A Love Story.
Really?
And then, and that was all last year. And then working on the feature film that I produced and edited, Tango Shalom, which just got into the Buenos Aires Film Festival. It's playing at the Brooklyn Film Festival. It's been great. I would love to have commercial success. I've lived in the independent film world for 3 decades. I'd love to get out of it. I thought I had some commercial success with Agent Cody Banks as a producer, but we should have had a lot more. And that's what I hope for. I'd love to.
Rob,
I just want to buy Hot Toys and Japanese die-cast robots. And I want to have the money to buy whatever Hot Toys and Japanese die-cast robots. That's not...
Amen.
That's not, whether it's model rockets or I want to buy expensive Japanese paints for my robot toys. I'm a simple man with simple needs.
I've seen a lot of actors start channels during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think that people don't realize the potential for this platform. And I think this platform can take people wherever they want to go. And if you want to go in a certain direction, I think it'll take you there.
No, I agree. And I have to tell you, though, I've become obsessed lately with time. And so Tango Shalom, this low-budget film, which I like to call an indie Jewish spiritual quest family dance comedy fable.
Wow.
I worked on it on and off for 5 years. It's 115 minutes long. It represents everything I've learned. And, it is what it is. It's a story about a middle-aged Hasidic rabbi wanting to dance a tango with a young, hot dance instructor to save his Hebrew school. So I worked on that film. I worked on it harder than I've ever worked on anything. Most of the people that I know wouldn't watch it. It's still a low-budget movie. So the question that I have is, I do shows every day that are 2 hours long. This show right now is going to be a 3-hour-long show. I just turned on my camera and started doing it. 3 hours of my time.
I remember.
But more importantly, 3 hours of the viewer's time. And so then I make a 115-minute film that took 5 years of my life. And it's a movie that, by design, it's a very niche thing. Low-budget indie, very niche. And I wonder, Should I have done it? Like when you think about how much time you have in life, I turn on my camera, I do a 3-hour show. There's 3 hours of entertainment. Or do I spend 5 years making a movie because it's my dream to work in movies? And it's starting to put the zap on my head. Like how much you think about, okay, I've got this much time left. I've had to wait 5 years between movie projects, big that I really want to do. I've got lots of little projects. And then you're like, how much time do you have left to actually devote to doing this kind of thing? And I'm thinking maybe YouTube's better. Like I certainly get more satisfaction from it. I still like the people I've met are great. I enjoy doing these streams. I enjoy talking to you right now. And what's more valid? Just because I have this romantic notion of making movies, so that's all I want to do. But I get more feedback, more people that talk about. Even tonight, my father was in bad health, and your shows.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean not mine. Somebody. No, my father's long gone, but he was a great guy. But no, tonight I hear from people like my father was going to pass away, and your shows, your positivity. Like I don't even know you talking to a camera. You don't know how people think of you. But this YouTube business, like you said, you can take it wherever you want to go. And I think like tonight, the whole point was I wanted to do this midnight show just to talk to viewers, imagination connoisseurs, who's watching the channel, who are you, and do a late night radio show kind of a thing where people call in and we talk about whatever you want to talk about. And that's why you, PJ, are here right now.
Well, congrats, because I think you made the day. You just made everybody's day in Europe. I think because there's a lot of Europeans. There's a lot of them in the chat right now, and I'm in Europe right now too. So
where in Europe are you?
I'm usually in New York, but I'm in Madrid right now.
Oh, dude, I can't tell you how much I love Spain. My God, what are you doing in Madrid?
Well, I mean, my family's originally from here. My wife's from here, so I'm often here, and there are so many amazing locations to film in Spain, Robert. It's just like
I've been to Barcelona 6 times. I had a dream. I wanted to do a zombie movie where everyone who died in the Mediterranean just comes up out of the sea one day and assaults the city. You know, and the great thing, all those open squares, and there's so much potential. You know, and it would be on the day the Sagrada Familia is finished. that's when the zombies come out of the Mediterranean.
Oh God!
And like one of your main characters will be the architect or the contractor that's been there, and he's inherited. His father has been working on the Sagrada Familia for 50 years, and now he's going to be the one to finish it. And on the day it's finished, a big celebration. This celebration, somebody realizes that the Sagrada Familia was designed to channel the world's energy to reanimate the dead from every shipwreck and everything that's been in the Mediterranean. They all walk up on the beach in Barcelona and assault the town.
Imagination connoisseur, indeed.
And I love Spain. I have.
No, but that's that's really original. I gotta say.
I know, right? I was thinking, when you go to, it's funny. People who've never been to Spain. The one thing I love about Spain is it is one of the most zesty. And when I say the zest for life, my God, Spain's the place. Spain is a place to go if you want to have a good time.
Yeah, it's I was here when I was here at college and stuff, and was that
when you met your wife?
No, I met her later. But yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place to visit. And if you can live in Spain with a foreign salary, because the salaries here are pretty low,
right?
That would be ideal. But
oh no, it's the food's fantastic, the music, the women. I mean, you're married to a Spanish.
No comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Spain is all good. And they have my favorite film festival in all the world, which is in Sitges, which is 20 kilometers south of Barcelona on the Mediterranean.
Oh, okay.
It is a film festival that takes place in October, usually, and it's a entire festival devoted to science fiction and fantasy.
Really?
And
I didn't
horror.
know about that.
And horror. It's amazing.
Where is it again?
It's in Sitges, which is a town that's 20 kilometers south of Barcelona, right on the coast. You can get there in 20 minutes. Oh, it's always begins in the middle of the first week of October. Sitges is like the gay destination spot of Europe from May to the end of September. And then in October, Sitges takes over, and like they do zombie walks. Like, you haven't lived until you see 6,000 people dressed as zombies choking the small streets of ancient Sitges, where the iconic church is. Oh man, yes.
Wow.
And it's sponsored by like Jack Daniels, and it's amazing. And the filmmakers there, everybody is having so much fun, and oh my god, and it's all science fiction, fantasy, and horror films.
Check that out someday.
It's amazing. And what's great is you can get hammered and you can sleep on the beach, and then you're like, oh my screening's at 10 a.m. Perhaps I should get up, maybe go to the bathroom, wash my face, and then go to see Battle Royale with a bunch of other people that have stayed up all night long. and every killing, people are standing up screaming in the theater. It was amazing. I saw Star Crash, my beloved Star Crash, after I actually did sleep on the beach.
Oh, wow.
And I got him like, oh my God, I'm missing my 10 a.m. screening of Star Crash. It was just, love it. God. And you're in Madrid. How long are you in Madrid for?
I am back and forth, but for personal reasons, in-laws are not well and stuff. I'm going to be back and forth a lot. So
yeah.
So,
but it's great.
But I like it here, so it's I'm okay. I feel comfortable here.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Madrid. I've only ever been to Barcelona. I'm dying to go to explore Spain and Portugal.
They filmed a lot of Game of Thrones here.
Yeah.
And Portugal too. Yeah, Portugal is. I want to do a Mars movie in Portugal because the Earth is so red.
Yep.
When you cross over to Portugal.
That we'll do the John Carter TV series. I'm in. Count me out.
John Carter.
The Barsoom series. Why not?
Jump in. Yeah. Did you like John Carter when you saw it?
I loved it. I
did too, but it didn't do well.
No, it was murdered. John Carter, I have a theory. I've said this before on many streams, but I'll tell you my theory is that so John Carter, they bought the rights. I mean, Marvel Comics published John Carter, Warlord of Mars in the 70s. And so Disney was going to make John Carter. And you had Andrew Stanton directing, one of the biggest directors at Pixar, making his live action debut, creating the Tharks and all that. So they're making this movie. They're all in on it. It's like going to be a $250 million movie. And then somewhere in the production, Bob Iger gets wind of the fact that George Lucas wants to sell Star Wars. And Bob Iger's like, oh, great. So we're in the middle of making a $250 million movie that was the inspiration to George Lucas to make Star Wars. And Bob Iger's thinking, I don't want to go into a meeting with George Lucas about buying Star Wars. And he's like, well, aren't you guys making John Carter of Mars? I mean, I loved A Princess of Mars. And are you going to be committed to Star Wars? Or are you going to continue with your own franchise? I imagine that Bob Iger was going, he didn't want to have that conversation. So he's $250 million. I mean, riddle me this, Batman. Disney made John Carter. Now, they didn't call it John Carter, Warlord of Mars. They didn't call it a princess, Edgar Rice Burroughs, a Princess of Mars. Disney not calling him, nope. They call it John Carter. If you look at the key art, it's like this sun and a silhouetted figure. You wouldn't even know it's on Mars.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I think they did John Carter was murdered, and this is my conspiracy theory, because Bob Iger did not want George Lucas to say anything, have any reason not to sell Star Wars to Disney. And so John Carter, they're like, we're not going to call it John Carter of Mars. We don't even want people to know it's based on the Edgar Rice Burroughs fantasy novel series that's been beloved and also inspired George Lucas to make Star Wars. We want none of that. We don't want anybody to know anything about it. I mean, that key art's the most generic shit in the world. And you're like, wow, even Marvel Comics, why not say Marvel Comics presents John Carter, Warlord of Mars? They didn't do it.
Sure.
John Carter was murdered. That film was sacrificed. And by the way, this is my own personal opinion. I think it was sacrificed to make way for Star Wars, because it would have been a competing franchise. And I think John Carter's a great movie. It's a great adaptation of the book. But here's the really telling thing. They spent $250 million on a movie that was directed by Andrew Stanton, who directed Finding Nemo, right? There is not one. And by the way, if you're going to make merchandising from a movie, you have to have a long lead time. Well, John Carter has Woola, everyone's favorite space dog, the fast space dog. Why isn't there a Woola plushie? There is not one piece of merchandising from John Carter. No action figures. Where's a Thark figure? 4 arms and all.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Nothing. Zero. That movie was murdered. It was sacrificed to the movie gods because Bob Iger sniffed around that George Lucas might sell Star Wars. And he didn't want John Carter to be something that George Lucas said, you're already doing John Carter. You don't need Star Wars. Bob Iger didn't want to hear it. So they killed it. They murdered that movie.
Wow.
That's only my theory.
What does do the timetables coincide?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. And it's too bad, because that movie should have been a series. But
wow.
What can you do?
Robert, before I forget, I want to ask you an Orville question, if I may. Would you agree that the Orville, that what we're looking like we're going to get in Orville season 3 is going to be mind blowing? Would you agree
I think so.
that the Orville is going to be in a very different place after season 3?
Yes, I think what's really interesting is that, like, I worked with Seth MacFarlane. He came in and hosted a piece we did for the Next Generation Blu-rays. And we asked him if he would host a roundtable conversation with the writing staff. Naren Shankar, Brian Braga, Ron Moore, and Renee Echeverria. And it was apparent to me when he came in to do this, he came in with a yellow legal pad with 20 pages of notes that he had compiled in advance before we had because he was so into it.
Wow.
I think that the Orville is absolutely a Next Generation homage, but they've been building their own mythology. I think, I did an interview on my channel with David Goodman, who's also an executive producer of the Orville. He talked about season 3, and I think we're going to get something that's pretty mind-blowing. I really, my only criticism of the Orville is that sometimes they do, their stories are too personal. Like, I've developed an addiction to cigarettes. I'm like, okay, well, or online pornography. What are we gonna, or holodeck pornography? And it just is like, I get it, but I think they need to broaden their scope of what they're doing, and I think season 3 is going to knock it out of the park because I like all the actors and I like all the characters.
And it's going to be each episode is going to be an hour long.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting,
which will be great. Well, listen, I must turn in. This show has gone. The first episode of Robservations Midnighter has gone further than I thought it would. And thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you so much, Robert, and congratulations. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Well, come back. I'm going to do this 4 days a week.
Really? Oh my God.
I know, crazy. I know, right?
I got to tell you, you're really consistent.
Well, thank you.
Consistent than anybody. Thank you so much, Robert. Good night.
Thanks for being here, PJ. That was PJ from the Orville Nation. And Michael Miller sends in a super chat and says, I don't know if you covered it, but rumor is NBC is bidding on Viacom. Viacom can't get loans anymore and are surviving on debt and can't get loans. That might be true. You know why? Because they spent too goddamn much money on their terrible Star Trek. I know. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind souls, everybody across the 28 known galaxies, thank you for making the first episode of Robservations Midnighter a resounding success. I want to thank my moderators, beginning with Mike Bodden and the Richard, who is here. Darren Seeley is here. Bunyan Snipe is here. I want to thank you three for being great wrenches. Very much appreciated. I want to thank people. Oh, wait. Cash Kester says, the first movie I watched with my dad was Die Hard. That's a good one. 1988. I want to thank everybody for generously supporting the channel via Super Chats and tips. And if you want to write letters to Robservations Midnighter, you can at the Burnettwork.net website. And on that note, I'm going to end this show by saying, everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen. And with that, I say, return tomorrow for Robservations Midnighter. Meet more of your fellow imagination connoisseurs. See their faces, hear what they have to say. This show is your show. And it is nothing unless we get to meet you. So thanks for being here. I didn't know if it was going to work. It seemed to work. We'll see tomorrow. But thank you all very much. And as always, have a better night.